Hello everyone and welcome to Tinfoil Tuesday. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another week of very strange conspiracy stuff. We are playing Conspiracy Bingo, so make sure you get the card if you'd like to play. The first winner gets a gift sub on me. And I think that is it. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and like the stream, and that catches us up. Halloween Town, thank you for a 3-stream streak, says gonna have pizza bagels for dinner, so please sing the song for me. When pizza's on a bagel, you can have pizza anytime. Oh, that fucking hurt. There you go. I hope it was worth it. So hi everyone, how's it going? Hope your week's going well so far. I don't have any housekeeping, I don't think. We are working our way towards another costume month, so if you wanted to help out, use the tip links. We're halfway there. We're just over halfway there. We also... That's it. There's just no also. I'm done. Alright, let's get into it. Woo! Hey, you know what would brighten our spirits in this trying time? Maybe a good old-fashioned acoustic guitar song. Everyone loves that, right?
Hey everybody, this is Matt Senna with Brother Sage's song, I'm a Pee Drinking Man. Performed 2021, written 2017. Sure, there's juice and coffee and tea. Yet for this modern man, this body thrives on pee. Sickness cannot touch me, nor can aging. The water of life has got its own divine timing.
Water of life, wow, it's just piss. It's just piss!
So let it flow, drink as much as you can. Discover why I'm a pee-drinking man.
The thing is, I don't even care, like, if your fetish is pee, it's not my thing. I think it's gross, but like, do you? As long as it's consensual, who cares? Why you gotta make it into an alt-health thing? Not pretending your fetishes are medicine. I'm so tired of it. Overthought with 100 bits says, he has such a nice voice, must be the pee. Yep, it soothes the throat. You ever heard of golden vocal cords? How do you think they got gold?
It knows when to serve you the perfect blend of ultra-filtered nutrients, the finest nectar of immortality. No money can buy it. I'm
pretty sure you could buy someone else's pee. You can buy other people's pee for drug tests, although you could just drink it, I guess. It's not illegal. Like, once you buy the pee, it's yours. They can't stop you.
For me. So let it flow, drink as much as you can. Discover why I am a pee-drinking man. Yes, so let it flow. Drink as much as
Not exactly Cat Stevens, is he?
You can discover why.
Yusuf Islam? I think he goes by now.
I'm a pee-drinking man. Well, a pee-drinking man may not be the common of men, yet his youthful energy and appearance is attractive and sweet. Oh, again and...
Your pee's sweet. You might want to go see a doctor. That could be pre-diabetes.
And,
Your pee should not usually be sweet. That's pre-diabetes. Or diabetes. Toreador says more like Rat Stevens.
Again and again. So let it flow. Drink as much as you can. Discover why I'm a pee-drinking man. So let it flow. Drink as much as you can. Discover why I am a pee-drinking man. Discover it.
Yeesh. Don't you dare play Man of La Mancha after that. Don't you associate those two things, YouTube. How dare you? Orion says you can find his album under the name P.S. Taker. You know, since we're doing this anyway, let's get this other P one out of the way. Because why not? get this out of the way, and then it's done, and then there'll be no more pee.
Today, we are talking about the ancient art of Shivambu, aka urine therapy. Now, this therapy,
AKA drinking your waste. Do not do this. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, speaking of which I need to get Boxy going, don't I? Where is my disclaimer? There you are, Boxy. Welcome back. So if I need to say this, I shouldn't have to, but I guess for legal things, don't drink pee, don't drink your pee, don't drink anyone's pee. It's supposed to come out of you.
therapy is not right for everyone. It's very esoteric, and it takes a Jedi mind trick to get over your conditioning, your industrial age school system, your
industrial age school system that tells you it's not a good idea to drink the thing your body specifically is ejecting from you. In for a sprinkle, in for a pool. Oh.
propaganda, programming, etc. However, this is an ancient...
You're all just programmed to not know that pee is delicious. God damn it.
practice from the yogis, 5,000 years old, etc. And so I've talked about it a lot. A lot of my interviews, they like to use it as clickbait. I get it. It's very intriguing. It grosses some people out. Other people...
Most people! It grosses most people out! I think that that's a reasonable reaction. Millions and millions of years of evolution should tell you, don't eat your shit, don't drink your piss. Those are like in the top 10 rules of being a living thing, is leave the waste alone. It's like, this is like your brain stem should tell you not to drink your own pee. But here we are with the internet and a whole brain above the brain stem. And yet here this man is, before us today, shirtless, telling us the benefits of guzzling his pee-pee. Unfortunate.
The pee-pee people, they love it. So this video is for you guys, because the
What about coom? That's good for zinc.
pee people are always asking me to do more videos on pee-pee. And so I like to teach from a position of experience, right? We can only teach from exactly where we are at. And so this is my practice. This is not my advocation to you that you should practice it. Just get very, very clear on that.
I think that that's completely irresponsible for you to be like, hey, I'm just showing you what I do. I'm not telling you to do it. You know these people are gonna drink their pee. Whatever you tell them to do, some of them are gonna do it. Take some responsibility.
Practicing this for the better part
It's as dark as whiskey. Yeah, that's what happens when you just drink your own pee over and over again and distill it in your body. Just continually condensing it into pissier and pissier piss.
of the last 20 years.
He's probably also aging it. They do ferment and age their urine to drink. Yep. Toreador says, Sir, please, the hotel pool area is for guests only. Please leave the premises and take your, drink with you. Peep Lord says, hey, Hannah, do you know how koala babies do? They climb out of their mother's flesh pocket and eat her poop, called fecal pap. I did know that.
And so this particular situation right here, this is aged urine. This is about 6 months, maybe a little bit longer, give or take. It's got that nice brown tint to it.
That nice brown tint. Benekagami says, humans have a natural aversion to pee, blood, vomit, and shit because it's the easiest way to transfer disease. It's not society. It's part of how your brain's naturally developed. Yep. Yeah.
And then, of course, oof,
oh, he
gnarly.
straight
Smells
huffs
like
it.
ammonia. I don't always drink this, but the research that I've shown is it's good for parasites. It's good for your gut microbiome.
Is it good for the parasites in that it helps them get a real good foothold in your guts? What do you mean it's good for parasites? It's pee! Raya Rose, thanks for 42 months, says, Happy Tinfoil Tuesday. It's been a month since my first gender-affirming surgery, and I'm finally feeling close to normal again. Well, hell yes. That's awesome.
So it's going to have
Cheers.
that element of power. So typically I use it topically. It's excellent for energy in the sun, boosts my testosterone. I just feel it.
Does it? Have you ever taken measurements of your testosterone? Why do you think your pee makes your testosterone more? Why? That's not how HRT works. Bumble Homestead with 50 bits says,
In my muscles.
fair observation.
It really gives me a lot of clarity and energy. But I have it open and we're talking about it. So of course we can drink a little bit and see what happens.
That's unfortunate.
The first thing that
Yeah, everything that's settled at the bottom there, that's the good stuff. You should take a stick in there and stir it up.
we get is it's very gnarly smelling. However,
Yeah, it's aged pee. It's bodily fluid that you heated up. And then we're like, yep, putting this back in me.
once it goes on your skin, when you get some sunlight on it, I like to ride my bike, put it on my body, either lay out here at the pool or put it on my body and go out for a ride in my bike, even when it's 110, 115 degrees out here.
Oh,
I mean,
good, you're just baking. You're baking the pee into your skin.
know how powerful this is for me. It's not the greatest tasting delicacy on the planet, but it's kind of like eating oysters or uni, sea
I don't eat oysters either.
urchin. I know it's good for me. It's loaded with minerals.
He knows. He knows it's good for him.
Cell salts, amino acids, stem cells, antigens,
Stem
antibodies.
cells?
But the way I like to use it ultimately is topically. So you put a little bit in your hand there.
I know how to rub things on
And you
myself.
just rub it on your skin. And so once it's out in the sun for a little while, it mixes with your own pheromones and it smells like perfume. It's a little musky, if you will. And so this is what gives me excellent color. And I don't always practice this, but when I do, it makes me feel great. So I took some time to create some jars earlier last year. See me getting it on his legs. I like to get it in where my lymph
Oh
node.
god, I hope he doesn't inject it. Benegagami says, as a palate cleanser, has anyone seen the Quartering moderating a debate between Professor Dave and Flat Earther Witsit? I'm struggling to get through 30 minutes because of empathy for Dave. Witsit's constant deflection and lack of understanding is almost as painful as being out in 95-degree weather for 10 hours. I haven't seen it yet. I was going to watch it, not today because it's a little long, so it's probably going to have to be its own stream. But, heard it was a nightmare.
Are. So in the creases of my elbows, behind my knees, on my ankles, where the sun hits me the most, my shoulders. I like to get it on my face.
This is thorough.
I know people that wash their hair with it. They have gotten rid of
Really loose on the word wash there, huh? JP Black with 31 months says it rubs the pee-pee on its skin, then it definitely gets the hose again, and bleach.
some premature balding. It's used for all sorts of stuff. I don't make any claims. I just love it. And I've been using it for 20 years. And I love the way it makes my skin look.
Dave didn't know who the Quartering was and basically destroyed Witsit in the first 5 minutes. The rest was exhausting.
And my muscles feel. And so, trust me, I know this isn't right for
Apply
everyone.
piss directly to the forehead. Did you know that was a scam? They got sued. The head-on people, head-on, apply directly to the forehead. It was a scam. They got sued and lost. It was bullshit. Stone Corbell with 100 bits says, hype train? Yes, you did indeed start a hype train. Thank you very much.
But I'm sharing what I do. You know, read about it. Go on urinetherapy.com.
All these claims
So
I'm making are
every
claims.
morning I pee in a mason jar and I drink it. I put it in a neti pot and I clean my nose with it.
Oh, that's a good way to get brain parasites. 61% to level 1 in a hype train. The hype train will get rid of the pee, I promise.
If you want to age it, this is a 64-ounce wide mouth mason jar. So you just put that on there. You can do it open and put a cheesecloth or a napkin or some kind of filter that doesn't allow bugs or anything to get into it, dust. Or you can close it up and it's going to create anaerobic bacteria. Both has application is what I have been
Coca-Cola
told.
isn't
And I've
hydration, I
experienced
agree.
it. It's good for tight muscles, pain.
It's just
not making any
delicious.
claims whatsoever. I just experienced this and it feels amazing in the sun. And again, I'm Irish, right? I'm a white boy. And this is my tan, right?
If we
It
get level
almost-
5, can we be done with this? If we get level 5, I won't do a piss video for 6 months. Overthought, thanks for gifting a sub. Or if we finish the costume month goal this week, no piss videos for a year.
60 years old. I don't wear sunscreen. My nutrition
So
is my
saith I.
sunscreen. I don't take anabolic steroids. When I get this in the sun, I feel like a natural pump. Gets me all pumped up. Gets my muscles pumped up.
Bittergrin, thanks for gifting
I
5
feel
tier 1
energized.
subs.
I let this saturate in for a little while, get all hot and bothered out here, and then maybe jump in an ice bath. Fire and ice. Then you
Stone
feel
Corbell,
completely
thanks for gifting a
electrified.
sub. Oh, this is going quick. Okay, I see. People really don't like the piss videos. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Wow, I really should have set that bar higher. God damn it.
So I'm curious if any of you guys have had this experience. I mean, look at the tone.
Stone
Look at my
Corbell, thanks
skin
for gifting
tone,
a sub.
my skin color. To me, that looks pretty alive, healthy. I don't have dry skin. I feel pretty nourished. Even my muscles.
Crit
feel
Crow,
nourished.
thanks for
And I
following.
get a little testosterone boost just from having that much urine all over me. Feel energized. I feel
Unstable
rhythmic
Deadbeat,
and
thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs.
flow.
Hydrate, can do.
Don't get me wrong, I got my own little injuries over the years, my own little arthritis, but it all
What have you stumbled into? So, Crit Crow, this is a show where we look at conspiracy theorists and the strange things they believe. And this gentleman here thinks that pee-pee is medicine. And people don't generally like, understandably, when I watch the urine-based conspiracy theorists, so if we get to level 5 on a hype train, no pee videos for 6 months. If you want a year, you gotta get us to the end of the costume month this week. Triple Punk, thanks for gifting a sub. Level 3 complete. We're getting there. Rockagom, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Wow, people really don't like the pee videos.
almost 60.
This was worth it. This was worth it for me.
I keep moving.
I'll even tell you what, they're cumulative. The level 5 is 6 months, and then if you get to the end, if you get us to costume month by the end of this week, I will add another year on top of that. So it would be a year and a half of no pee videos. No piss.
Moving and feeling, going towards
Piss month. Just all piss videos.
vitality and energy.
This is the winning strategy. I solved Twitch.
It worked for me for the
Lord with 100 bits says, I earned my Geneva Scout badge for mixing a medical elixir of MMS and Age Shivambu.
morning pee.
Just bleach and pee. Bleach and pee.
Just take that.
Oh, stop. Stop drink. Oh, he's gonna pee in it and drink more! Rockagum says, you finally found the one thing chat can't handle, thing chat can't handle that you can show on stream. I applaud you. Rayline says, I did just get a raise and it's worth it for no pee. There you go!
I didn't get anything.
Ah!
Just drink it. Pretty simple. It's pretty self-explanatory. Urine therapy. You can age it or you can drink the fresh and snort the fresh.
Snort the fresh pee! 38% to level 5!
Hey guys, Troy.
We're not quite there yet! Just letting you know! Procacom gifting another 5 tier 1 subs! People with 100 bits says, this is why I have so much smoke for Kevin Costner. Waterworld reference. Decent. Decent. Is he Tom Baker's character from Blackadder? I have not seen Blackadder. Oh. All right, 87% to level 5, and yeah, let's see what we're doing next. At minimum, we're done with piss for the day, so that's good. That's good. No more pee-pee today. Paradona gives 2 tier 1 subs and gets us over level 5. Let me write down today's date so I don't forget how long we can go without videos. 6 months, huh? So December 18th, we can look at P videos again. Six 18/24 P embargo. That's my note. 6/18/24 P embargo. That's a note. Again, like I said, if we finish costume week up this week, or costume month up this week, then I'll add another year to that. Procagom says, December 18th shall hereby forever be known as Piss Day. Oh yeah, December 8th, you know what's gonna happen December 18th, right? Or December 19th of this year, right? All you've done is empowered me, you fools. That's gonna be the Shavambu super stream. Let's see how Chris is doing. P for Christmas. All I want for Christmas is to show you P. To show you P. To show you P. All I want for Christmas is to show you P. Anyway, let's see how Chris is doing. Recording in car on the bingo card. I don't think the P stuff gave us anything off the bingo card. I could be wrong, though. Piss, miss. Piss, miss. Okay, I'm done with the P stuff. I'm done being gross. Well, I'm done being gross about P. For now. For 6 months.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be.
What happens if you forgot and have a P video? Does chat get to restart the P embargo timer? If I do forget, we'll add a week every time I forget. But people remind me. Bitter Grin. Sorry I missed your thing. Let me go find it. It got lost in all of the stuff. Wouldn't the bleach in the MMS react with the ammonia in the P and make mustard gas? Maybe. That would make sense.
CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 6/13/24.
What about poo videos? We didn't say anything about poo videos.
So, that's Alteria. I think that's how you pronounce it. That is 16.73 light years away. That means that's a light year is equivalent to 5.8 trillion miles. Okay?
Hey, Cruelty.
Are you listening to that? 5.8 trillion fucking miles.
Yeah, that's far.
To travel 1 light year, it would take you a little under 3,000 years. 2.29.
At what speed? At what speed? I'm not light, so I don't go that fast. But light goes the speed of light, so it goes pretty fast. Peeplord says the mustard gas was the, what the Geneva Convention joke?
7.8 to be exact.
Was the Geneva Convention joke.
At 165,000 miles per hour. That's 1 light year. 1 light year.
Yes.
Alteria, as you can see up on top, is 16.73 light years away. Okay? Yeah. That's my P1000 that I'm using. Whether it's in focus...
The Nikon camera. Flat Earthers are pretty obsessed with the Nikon P900s and P1000s because they're relatively easy to use prosumer DSLR cameras, and they zoom in on things with them in space, and then go, look, it doesn't look like how it shows in a telescope, and it's like, yeah, that's a camera, not a telescope. Correct. But they think they're right because it looks different, and they're seeing this through their own camera, so this is real and telescopes are fake.
Or if it's not, it doesn't make a fucking difference. This thing is 6.73
Oh, doesn't understand how cameras work on the bingo card.
light years away. I shouldn't be able to see that. Light cannot travel at that distance.
It can and it does.
And you can see it.
Thank you so much for that hype train, everyone. And thank yourselves for the lack of Shavambu for the next 6 months.
It's like a laser, okay? You know what happens to a laser over long distances? It opens up. It just gets larger and larger, and you don't see it anymore.
Right, but stars are very, very big, so they're very far away, but they're very, very, very big, so you can see their light from very far away.
I don't know what it is with people. I mean, who's that scientist that wrote something hot in fields, whatever the hell her name is? It doesn't make a difference. She's on a new theory now. Yes, she's bringing back Einstein's theory of black holes. I love it. I love these theories of black holes.
Did Einstein theorize about black holes? I thought that was later, and that Einstein, in fact, was not a proponent of, like, black holes as a hypothesis until later when, like, other things had been discovered. I could be wrong, to be clear. I didn't think Einstein was big on black hole stuff.
Which don't exist, okay?
I thought it was actually, like, Stephen Hawking's thing was it a big deal that he figured out the math to demonstrate the possibility of a black hole. Einstein talked about wormholes, not black holes. Oh yeah, Einstein-Rosen bridge. That tracks.
What happened?
That would explain why his name is in that. Benikagami says they really don't understand how vacuums change physics, do they? Man, dark matter is really gonna get them.
Is when two black holes merge together. Remember, this is a black hole, okay? We have beautiful pictures of them, too. I like the one, yes, Dunkin' Donuts. I know you had a little hand in there. I know you did. You orange donuts. That's right, I saw them on sale, too, right around then. When two black holes merge together, they combine a larger black hole, which emits less radiation. Okay, and then when all of this is happening, it also emits little miniature black holes on the side, too. Isn't that amazing?
If you're asking why he brought up Dunkin' Donuts, I do not know. I do not know why he brought up Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if it was a donut hole joke. I don't know if he was referencing... He's referenced Dunkin' Donuts before in reference to back when the COVID vaccines were first released. They did a thing where if you showed your vaccine like card, you'd get a free donut. I know he was bitching about that, so he doesn't like Dunkin' Donuts because he's an anti-vaxxer. I don't know. I think it's just brain worms. I think we're at the point where the worms have burrowed so deeply and thoroughly through his brain that thoughts are just passing between, like, different subjects, and it doesn't make sense to you or I. It only makes sense to him, what connections he's making.
Holy shit! I can't believe... You must be really impressed with these scientists believing all of this nonsense. Because people can't think for themselves anymore. They can't. They can't think for themselves. These numbers that they give us, this bullshit...
It looked like a donut. There you go.
Shit that they give you and feed you. And people just say yes. That's the answer. That's why the star is flickering.
Does he not believe in space, or is it a flat earth thing? He does not believe in space, and he is a flat earther.
Yes! Yes, that's why we have a solar eclipse. Yes! Wrong! It's all bullshit. It's there to make you feel like you're insignificant.
Conspiracy theorist tells on themselves on the bingo card.
And to keep that lie going.
CC, by the way, Baha, I think you're listening to me, I can hear myself downstairs. Could you turn it down a little bit? It's throwing me off hearing myself. So Chris feels insignificant. This isn't uncommon in conspiracy theories and people who believe conspiracy theories. They want to feel important. They don't. They have existential crises about how small they are compared to the rest of the world, and they come up with these beliefs or pick up these beliefs from others in part because it gives them a sense of control, it gives them a sense of importance, it gives them a sense of agency in what otherwise they perceive as a cold, uncaring universe, which is scary and is also true if you look at it quite cynically, but not the full picture, and I don't think is an accurate representation of the human experience, but they seem to have a problem with some of the, I don't know, scarier aspects of the randomness of life. Peoplord says, related, did you see that the Pentagon did anti-vax stuff in Southeast Asia about China's COVID vaccine? They did. It started under the Trump presidency, and then under the Biden presidency, they stopped it immediately, which is good. Oh, you're good, Baha.
As long as they can, because they know they're running out of fucking time. They are. They are running out of time. That's why you see all of these rockets all of a sudden out of nowhere go off. SpaceX, what a joke. What a joke. What a joke. And the joke's on you. Not on us, because we know what the truth is. We know who we are. And we know there's a God up there that created all of this. But still think you're living in this spinning wet ball, and that's
I think when he says running out of time, he means more and more people are going to wake up to the truth of flat Earth and all the conspiracy theories he believes in.
16.73 million light years.
Conspiracy theorists and their narratives tend to have an idea that they are always close to being proven right. So they're sort of like a millennialist vibe to them, where it's oh, you'll see, there's a day of reckoning, there's a big change, there's a shift, a new world order, or a vibrational change, as a lot of them say now. They think there will be basically a societal paradigm shift in which all of their beliefs will become the dominant beliefs of society, and you'll all see how wrong you were, you fools. They perpetually need to be in this state where they're almost proven right. Otherwise, they would have to accept, wow, I've believed these fringe things for years and years and years, and nothing's ever changed. Maybe I'm wrong. It always has to just be about to happen.
Away, that one's 100 trillion light years away, that one's another 2 billion light years away. Go ahead, make up any numbers. 10.
Can we add Illuminati is running out of time on the bingo card? Maybe not specifically Illuminati, but like they are running out of time. Yes, next time there's a revision, that would be a good one.
A 10 to the 100th power or 1000th power. They feed you these fucking
one day the universe will fail the vibe check, then you'll all see
numbers, and people just say yes, I believe that. No, it's bullshit. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos, and let me be a part of your life.
It's angrier and angrier. Poor guy. I hope Chris gets help someday, but he is not one to seek it out. Let's see what we have on the bingo card. Flat Earth. We have recording in car. Doesn't understand how cameras work. Vibes-based conspiracy. Or the P stuff, I would say. Guy is fake for the Chris stuff. Conspiracy theorist tells on themselves. That it? Benekagami says, related to the previous thing, did you see conspiracy theorists sharing that psyop? Like it doesn't make them look like a joke that the Pentagon spread shit like what they say to intentionally unalive people? No, I have not. I guess I don't know what you're specifically referring to. Ticking clock conspiracy for that someday soon space. Yeah, I'll figure out some sort of phrasing that encompasses the idea. I understand the overall idea, so either way. It's not a bad way to put it, though. The end is nigh. I don't know. Did the P stuff. Oh, this was in the title of today's video. Let's start this. This is all about how prom is satanic, I guess. I didn't go to prom. Oh, they were talking about the anti-vax stuff. I understand now.
It all starts with knowing whether you're going or not, and with whom. It helps if the boy is early with the invitation. That way, the girl feels she's his first choice. And naturally, it's only fair that the girl accept or reject as soon as possible. In most places, it's customary for the boy to give the invitation in person or by telephone.
No one asked me to prom.
Hello?
Hi, Mary. This is Dick.
Oh, hi, Dick. How are you?
Fine.
Hey, I hear you were great in the game last Saturday.
Well, it sure was a close one.
Yeah, but we pulled through all right. Hey, maybe now we'll go on and win the championship.
Well, I sure hope so. Say, Mary,
Why is this 35-year-old man going to prom?
as you know, the prom's the 24th. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Would you like to go with me?
Dick, it sounds great. I'd love to.
And Jack said his folks are fixing a midnight supper for our crowd after the dance.
That'll be fun.
So we'll be late getting home. Will that be all right?
Oh, I'm sure it will be. But why don't you let me check with Mother tonight?
How about if I pick you up at 7:30?
That's fine.
Good. See you then?
Goodbye, Dick, and thanks for calling. Hi. Dick, your flowers are just beautiful. They're perfect with my dress.
Well, I have to admit, I had a little help.
They are lovely, Dick.
Aren't
and
they?
dear, you just look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Say, if you two don't want to be late, you better be on your way.
All right. Good
Is this
night,
supposed to
Mom.
be
Good night,
ominous?
Dad.
Good night, sweetheart.
Night.
Dick, have a nice time.
Oh, we will. See you later.
Good night, Dick.
Night.
And have fun.
So with ease, the big evening begins.
The big evening begins.
Great hair, great dresses, and great expectations. The prom has long functioned as a rite of
Benigagami says conspiracy theorists have spread around the article about the anti-vax psyop and completely missed the fact that the evidence of this psyop undermines their credibility because the entire point was to unalive people. No, but don't you get it? It's secretly the truth.
passage for
Conspiracy theorists can take anything and twist it to their version of what it means, as long as what it means can be interpreted to be beneficial to them.
American teenagers as they act out fantasies of a generally
Conspiracy theorists are like birds building a nest, and what they make the nest out of are any bits of tidbits of information or news stories that they can misinterpret into being on their side. Their entire worldview is this conglomeration of half-understood, misinterpreted, either unintentionally or intentionally, little tidbits of information they've all kind of just shoved together, and that's where they live.
unattainable adult ideal as they act out fantasies of a generally unattainable adult ideal. Why might American families fork over so much for just one night? Well, today we'll discuss where we got this funny little word from, how a high school party evolved into a teenage gateway to adult life, and why filmmakers love to make prom movies that critique American culture. So first, a little background on the word. The word prom is short for
Spurious symbology is evidence on the bingo card.
promenade, a French word used to describe a leisurely walk or the spaces in which this walk might take place. The word
I know what promenade means. I've seen Deep Space Nine.
promenade also describes
No, she's not a conspiracy nut. This is just a clip being used by the conspiracy person.
various dance positions. By the late 19th century, prom started to be used to describe a formal dance at a school. A 2014 article in Slate charts the frequency of prom-related words in English texts. In the first half of the 20th century, prom was most used to designate a cotillion-style ball. In the 1980s, usage increased but shifted from designating a simple school dance to describing a big school blowout. blowouts, not just for hair. But how did prom—
This is how a python kills its prey, by slowly choking its victim and increasing its strength, just as these proms became more and more evil as time went on. This was the dragon's plan. The dragon here being Satan.
become such a critical rite of passage?
Don't know where they're getting that from, but that's what it says.
Into American adulthood. Let's start by clarifying the phrase rites of passage. The ethnographer Arnold van Gennep coined this in 1909 to describe
Kai, thanks for 37 months.
A ceremony marking an individual's transition from one social or religious status to another. Van Gennep maintained that a rite of passage has 3 stages. The first involves preliminal events. Separation from family, breaking with routine, leaving behind something. The second involves liminal activities, a choreographed transition during which an element of one's identity is destroyed to make room for something new.
It's so wild to me that they're listening to this, you know, pretty, like, whatever YouTube video about prom and talking about it in a vaguely sociological context, and they think it's evil. Like, just discussing things in these terms sounds evil to them. Isn't that interesting? Just recognizing and discussing human rituals and how we do things, and sort of like deconstructing things you might take for granted in terms of human behavior, they interpret as evil. Huh.
It's destroyed to make room for something new.
The third involves post-liminal proceedings. The changed individual is reincorporated into society. But given that proms occur closer to this legal coming of age, for some, this party functions as a secular rite of passage. Pay attention to what is said next about Hollywood, how they manipulate the minds of the youth to think a certain way by using lesser magic within the movie industry. Of course, she is not saying this to speak against Hollywood, but rather to boast of the success it has on the youth. And American filmmakers have long been drawn to this fantasy of social mobility. I
really like that slow-mo effect. I don't know what they're trying to emphasize, but
representations of prom can provide great insight into broader social attitudes within American culture. And many filmmakers reproduce Van Gennep's 3 rites of passage stages in a film formula that I'm sure you'll recognize.
What are the 3 rites of passage Hollywood pushes into the psyche using lesser magic? Listen carefully.
Stage 1. A teenager enacts the death of their childhood self. They distance themselves emotionally from their family. Stage 1. A teenager enacts the death of their childhood self. They distance themselves emotionally from their family. Stage 1. A teenager enacts the death.
Just as the words say, we should die to self, Luke 9:23, Hollywood causes teens to die to the will of the Christ and exalt their own will, rebelling against their parents and doing their own will, just like Lucifer. No! It's just a coming-of-age trope. Like, teenagers, or whatever society at the time considers to be the threshold age of becoming a legal adult within society, is going to be a period that's tumultuous in which a child is struggling with the recognition that one period of their life is ending and a new one is beginning, and the rules and social mores of those different stages are quite different. So it's a stage of self-discovery as well as discovering your place in a larger society. It's not evil, it's just like part of the human condition that everyone virtually experiences in their life.
Of their childhood self. They distance themselves emotionally from their family. They engage in a performance of adult roles, makeup, hair, prom king, queen, or tricked out outfits. They give and wear flowers. They leave their childhood home in a fantasy vehicle, which maybe has a hot tub on the back. They leave their childhood home.
Notice she jokes about a hot tub because she is hinting to the act of all of the fornication that takes place on prom night. Or because it's a trope that the big limousines for rich prom kids have a hot tub. But yeah, people fuck at prom, after prom. Yeah. I don't think... I like that the implication is that they had to trick teenagers into having sex. Ooh, teenagers just hate sex. Teenagers just... Oh boy, they sure do not want to be in any sexual situation with other consenting teenagers. You gotta trick them into it with High School Musical 3. I've never had sex in a hot tub. I've been in multiple hot tubs. I don't think they'd be fun to have sex in.
In a fantasy vehicle, which maybe
foreplay, but not the main feature.
Has a hot tub on the back. Stage 2. In the liminal space of prom, the teenager is tested. They may get involved in a fight, or better yet, a dance-off. They navigate peer pressure, they decide whether to try various mind or mood-altering substances. They deflect or initiate sexual advances. In short, they scrutinize adult culture and determine who they hope to be within it. They decide whether to try various mind or mood-altering substances.
As schools promote the teachings of Aleister Crowley on prom night, giving the teens the chance to do their will.
They deflect.
The quote from Crowley that says, "Do what thou wilt."
Or
Crowley was just like a weird, horny guy. You don't gotta take him seriously at all. Because no one else does. The only people who take Crowley seriously are conspiracy theorists.
Sexual advances. In short, they scrutinize adult culture and determine who they hope to be within it. And stage 3, the new adult is incorporated into society. If prom takes place in the film's penultimate scene, this might involve busting out some adult dance moves or engaging in a very adult kiss.
By now, if you have been watching all the documentaries that we have released, you would already know. Once again, you see how the dragon is laughing as these Luciferians tell the masses right to their faces
Satanism on the bingo card.
What they're doing. By the power of Hollywood, the magic wand of Satan, using lesser magic and mind control to impregnate the will of the dragon into the hearts of this young generation.
Dragon impregnation, you say? Tell me more.
You heard it directly from the Luciferian's mouth, how Hollywood uses a 3-step process to invade the minds and hearts of children and teenagers, to separate themselves from their parents and want to do their own will, falling into the snare of temptation of the world. Do you remember in the second half of the occult roots behind sports?
What is lesser magic? Words, movies, anything. Basically, conspiracy theorists of this ilk believe that anything that could potentially convince someone not to follow their worldview is magic. Like a movie that has a moral they don't agree with isn't just a piece of art that they take issue with in its moral or construction. They believe it is literally an evil tool of Satan that is a magic spell constructed to convince the youth to follow Satanism or whatever. They have a very myopic, magical worldview. Not good. Piper Draws and stuff says, finally getting to join stream after our power was out for a few hours. What flavor of tinfoil are we watching? Right now we're finding out why high school proms are the work of Satan.
When we expose...
Have I seen the conspiracy where Barbara Bush is Aleister Crowley's daughter? I have seen that, yes.
How Allen Iverson was saying how he wanted to be like Mike. But then we showed you how there was predictive programming and lesser magic done while he was a child. Because a very famous and popular commercial was released about Michael Jordan, where the world chanted, "I want to be like Mike." This is how powerful.
Yeah, that was like a marketing thing. They even made a movie about it, starring Little Bow Wow, called Like Mike. Wait, was it Little Bow Wow or was it the other Little? Was it Little Romeo or Little Bow Wow? One was in the first one and the other was in the direct-to-DVD sequel. Either way, being like Mike was like a known phrase because it was used in advertising and stuff. Penakagami says, ironically, there's actually sinister elements to how Hollywood depicts coming of age. As mentioned, a common thing they depict is the death of childhood, often through people giving up kid stuff. This has fed the toxic idea that maturity means sacrificing things people enjoy like video games, comics, etc. Also, the satanic panic is evil, or rather, also the satanic temple is evil, but that's only because they're eugenicists. Are they really? Ew.
These spells are shaping and molding the minds of the masses. So when you see them break down how Hollywood loves to use scenes in movies, shows, and cartoons referencing prom night, and how it is broken down into 3 parts to assault the minds of the youth while they blindly watch these shows, cartoons, and movies as entertainment.
I guess I don't understand why they're even, like, are movies even that popular with young people these days? Like, I love movies, but I feel like movies are like a C-tier entertainment option these days, and I'm not talking about current movies or anything. I'm not doing, oh, current movies are bad. Far from it. I just mean, I feel like if you've seen Red Letter Media, for instance's coverage of this and how bad theaters are doing, they also discussed this. It just seems like movies don't have the central place in pop culture that they did for much of the 20th century. People's cultural touchstones sort of are disappearing, right? Culture is so atomized, there just aren't big blockbuster movies as often, and even when they are, they don't have as much of a cultural impact because there's so much else going on. I don't know. I just think focusing on movies is a weird thing to do in 2024. I love them. I think they're great to analyze and enjoy, and I fucking love movies. We all know that. But acting as though it is, like, the vector of the cultural zeitgeist, I think is just not true. I just don't think that's true.
Not realizing they're being detained for entry. Because that's what it's all about.
Also, they're showing a bunch of movies from the 90s and, like, 80s.
Separating the children from the teachings of their parents and luring them off into the darkness to want to do their own will and rush into adulthood faster than they're supposed to. But this is exactly the teachings of Aleister Crowley. To do what you want. To do.
I think John Hughes, that was his main inspiration in Pretty in Pink, was Aleister Crowley.
Your will.
Remember when Aleister Crowley wrote, "And lo, there shall be an incredibly racist character, and he shall be known as Long Duck Dong, and his coming will be foretold with a gong.
What thou will shall be the whole of the law. Do drugs and fornicate. This is the demonic teachings of..."
Yes, popular media is evil on the bingo card. And my goodness, the irony of him using footage from Footloose in this. Has he seen Footloose? I think he could benefit from watching Footloose. Because he's just being the John Lithgow character. Penakagami says, yes, the leadership of the Satanic Temple subscribe to eugenics. This and other things are covered in Dead Domain's video, The Lies of the Satanic Temple, and because someone mentioned it, the distinction between the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan is discussed, but unfortunately, it's a problem both of them have. Stone Corbell says if we're talking about how things were biblically, as I'm sure this guy would, wouldn't people be becoming adults way earlier than we think is appropriate in modern day? Biblically, yeah. In the story of Jesus' birth, Mary's like 13, 14. Cuba Hawk says, remember when boys became men and life expectancy was mid-30s? This guy clearly doesn't.
The cult. So while they place this into the psyche of billions of people, especially the youth, think of how those seeds will grow and germinate and activate. And parents have no clue why, all of a sudden, there's...
Again, he's showing footage from Footloose, one of the most wholesome, like, movies ever. Like, it's not evil, it's about affirming life and having fun, and, like, caring about other people, and processing trauma in a healthy way. What are we doing?
Sons and daughters no longer want to listen to them want to distance themselves from them and go after the rotten fruit hanging on the branches of the demonic tree.
Oh, and to be clear, I don't know what this guy's deal is, but everyone in my high school was fucking long before prom. People were not going, oh, I can't wait till prom so we can have sex. I'd hate to break it to this guy, but high schoolers fuck each other. Like, they do. They just do. It's a thing they do.
Mystery, Babylon. But while we're on the topic of Hollywood, the magic wand of Satan, you heard it from the mouth of the Luciferians themselves.
Duck Saw says, dude, we had people banging each other on the bus to school at 7 a.m. Yeah, people in my school got in trouble for doing stuff in school or on the bus or whatever. It's a bunch of weird, gangly, horny adolescents. It's disgusting. That's why we all cordon them off in high schools, and we don't have to be around them. Seriously, though, like, you know, I would imagine most of you remember what it was like to be teenagers. I do. It's an awkward, weird time. It's just weird that he seems to think that you need outside media to make you interested in sexuality. Like, if you are someone who is interested in sexuality.
Hollywood loves pushing the agenda of prom night and doing your own will within the industry. So let us go ahead, using the light of Christ, to expose this agenda hidden within the darkness in plain sight. We will scratch the surface and microscopically examine just a handful of shows and cartoons and movies so you can start to see the pattern as we break down and expose one of the many ways the dragon
Encino Man
is destroying.
Hell yeah, Encino Man.
The youth.
Peoplord says, then explain why my sexual awakening was Scorpina. That's a good one. Scorpina was a Power Rangers villain, for those who don't know. Oh yeah, this was all just the intro.
Lucifer, I'm here. Wanted to see me?
Yes, I wanted to check on you.
Lucifer, I'm here. Wanted to see me? Yes, I wanted to check on you.
You know, it made me realize something. All of that high school drama that I missed out on, the girly gossip, the hallway crushes, all those school dances, that's just not who I am.
Hold Undying says, hey, not on for long today, Hannah, but wanted to let you know I'm working on making a little pixel image of you sitting on a purple heart. Oh, that's cute. Thank you.
I like being the responsible adult.
Right. So you no longer desire any of that high school poppycock?
No.
Yeah, this is a show that's set in the DC universe. It's called Lucifer. It's about Lucifer living on Earth, owning a club, and solving crimes or something. I haven't seen it, but I'm vaguely familiar with it.
Well then.
Puts on a show about Lucifer, is surprised Lucifer is a main character, shocked Pikachu face.
I guess you won't be wanting this.
I'm concerned about the copyright, so I'm just gonna skip past this. It appears that Hollywood is making it very clear that Lucifer loves prom night. Yeah, Lucifer's a DC property. Oh, Teen Titans Go. Again. Why 2 DC things in a row?
Raven up. I am not going to let. And I'll make.
That's Raven's dad. Is his name Asmodeus? He's like a demon. This prom demon. This is Demon Prom. What do you think Hollywood is trying to say? I think they're trying to say the Teen Titans are teenagers, so they're doing a prom episode. And canonically, Raven's dad is a demon. Trigon. Thank you, Trigon.
If I'm gonna go, I want to be with my friends.
Sorry, I'm more of a Marvel girl. DC eludes me in terms of its names and stuff. You're not part of the Bat family. I probably don't know your name.
Very well.
Now at first,
No scene from Carrie yet. I'm sure it's gonna show up.
I wasn't even gonna break this one down, as it is very self-explanatory. But then as I thought about it, I wanted to speak to you. Because once again, they are mocking right to your face. Using lesser magic, they are showing you exactly what goes on during prom night. Could you imagine all the demonic entities that are in the midst of this satanic gathering? This is exactly what the dragon is saying, operating through predictive programming and lesser magic,
Predictive programming
showing
on the
you
bingo card.
what really goes on in the spiritual realm,
Yeah, that's Ravenstadt.
but hiding it under the guise of comedy and cartoons and movies, knowing that most people won't put the spiritual pieces together.
Jinkies, there's no parking.
Mystery Incorporated.
Driver, try around back.
Another Warner Brothers property, not DC, although they've done plenty of crossovers with DC stuff.
What's with your face? You okay? You look like you're gonna hork.
This is exactly like my dream.
Yep,
Us
satanic.
dancing. Then after...
Prom theme.
Once again, demons associated with prom night. It's Scooby-Doo. Oh, is this gonna be for Carrie? No.
There's a special night in the
Oh,
lives
prom
of
night.
all of us. A night to be beautiful, to be desirable. A night we can break all the rules and make our own. Prom night. Everyone at Hamilton High is getting ready for prom night. It's a day of rehearsals, arrangements, final preparations.
This is actually one I don't own. Benekagami said, oh shit, Hannah mentions Blu-rays. Benekagami says, this slander needs to stop. We all know Lucifer is an autistic short king that collects and makes toy ducks. He has a bisexual daughter who, because he's socially awkward, is having to work to rebuild a relationship with. That's gotta be a reference to something.
And last-minute phone calls.
Christopher B. asks for a job interview blessing. I bestow with you my blessing. You're going to do great. Toreador says nobody invite them in. They're seniors and they're already invited.
Nick? Wendy, do you still like to play games?
They're too old for games, but someone still wants to play.
Has been.
Callie, it's been a long time. Tonight, it's my turn.
Tonight, someone has come to the prom alone. Someone who watches in the silent corridors.
Sorry, I'm just genuinely enjoying the slasher trailer now. This hit my special interest.
Someone who waits until no one can help.
Yeah!
Prom night. If you're not back by midnight, you won't be coming home.
Now, before you and I go any further, I want you to ask yourself the question, what exactly is the Luciferians trying to tell you using...
There aren't Luciferians trying to tell you anything. It's a bunch of different people from different groups. They're all individuals making media that you are making arbitrary connections between. It's not evil. Other people just like art that's different than what you like. Your sensibilities are not universal, and sensibilities that upset you are not evil or satanic inherently. Learn to live on the planet with people different than you.
The magic wand of Hollywood by the power of lesser magic, it is very clear how many cartoons, shows, and movies have demonic roots when it comes to the prom. And you see, brothers and sisters, Hollywood went on to make 5 more prom horror films.
Oh, there's more than 5. Like, if you mean the Prom Night series specifically, didn't know there were 5 of them. If you mean outside of that, there's gotta be more than that. Let me off the top of my head. The Prom Night movies. Carrie, Cabin Fever 3, Spring Fever? Might be the second one. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. Oh god. There's a Halloween dance in Halloween 2018, but that's not prom. There's gotta be more.
You see, they're continually feeding the minds.
Okay, there are 5 prom night movies. That's great. Carrie is good. A while back, Arrow released this, God damn it. Knocked my soda over. A while ago, Arrow released this 4K of Carrie that's really nice. Slipcover. And it, of course, comes with a little... comes with the movie itself on 4K. And then, full poster. And a booklet that has all sorts of essays. I love the essays that come in these. Really nice. Anyway, you all know movies are my hyperfixation. Thank you for indulging me. I think I heard they're trying to remake Carrie again. Why? Like, I like the original Carrie, but I don't think it's the kind of thing that translates well into a movie. Was that a Blu-ray? It was a 4K Blu-ray. So Hannah mentions Blu-rays on the bingo card.
Of the masses, this connection hidden in plain sight.
They're including the remake.
But sadly, millions are blinded by the God of this world, and they don't understand that by the means of entertainment is the way the dragon lets it be known what his plans and agendas really are. So let us continue to expose this diabolical plan to completely destroy the minds of the youth.
Hey, what are you doing out here? Don't you want to dance?
Sure. Just a prom night dumpster baby.
I'm just a prom night dumpster baby.
Turn a tragedy into a comedy. For these Luciferians to turn a tragedy into a comedy. Because this is an achievement to them. They know that the mind control and lesser magic that they are putting into the minds, into the psyche of the youth, are transforming them into the character of Lucifer.
Literally just a joke. I don't like Family Guy either. You don't gotta think it's funny, but it's not satanic either. Just another excuse for Seth MacFarlane to sing. And he will take any opportunity for that. I say that hypocritically, as I too like to sing despite being bad at it.
They have become narcissists, where they only care about themselves and are willing to give birth and throw a baby into a dumpster just...
Do you think that only happens on prom? Like Max says, like I told someone like him on Instagram, Lucifer doesn't need to do any work because people like this guy will do the job for him and give him credit.
so they can make it to the...
He does sing pretty well, but you wouldn't have heard of him if it wasn't for Family Guy. I did actually, he did a whole live show where he basically did singing, like almost like Frank Sinatra style singing, and it was interesting just because you don't get to see that kind of show very often with that kind of budget to do it. He had a ton of money. I did find that interesting, but...
Prom.
Inside, they find the tiny body of Melissa's newborn. Inside the banquet hall, Melissa enjoys a salad, reportedly carrying on as if nothing has happened.
Man, babe,
Show
we were
tunes are great. How dare you?
really out of there for a minute. I think someone probably spiked the
I'll pull out Modern Major General just to ruin your day.
punch.
Oh, someone definitely spiked the punch.
All right, wanna go dance? Come on.
Yeah.
After the baby was disposed of, the young woman went out to dance.
After the baby was disposed of, the young woman went out to dance.
The Blood Ritual. There it is. Have you ever heard of Carrie, a demonic movie written by Stephen King? I assume they're going to take umbrage with the religious mother being an antagonist, a villain in the film. Like this character? The link. It's Mike from Sing, I think. Not seen Sing. Mike is an anthropomorphic white mouse. He wears a red suit and a white shirt underneath it with red pants and a red fedora along with a black tie and shoes. Yeah, that's him. That's Seth MacFarlane. Oh, he is voiced by Seth MacFarlane. There you go. Ryan Cooper says, I had a beer with Seth MacFarlane once, and he was pretty nice. Just talked about how bad TV was, but wasn't a prick about it. That's good. I didn't have anything against Seth MacFarlane personally that I know. I just don't like Family Guy. American Dad is much funnier. Bingo Square suggestion, this never happened. Oh, that would be a free space. Harry's the first Stephen King book to be turned into a film, right? And it was only within 5 years of the story being released, I think? Oh, was it his first novel? I like Cat's Eye. I have a lot of Stephen King movies. I have a whole shelf of Stephen King stuff. Misery's probably my favorite Stephen King, like, adaptation. It's just really great, and I really like Kathy Bates' performance. Hot take. But I don't know. I also like Cat's Eye. It's not good, but I don't know. Something about that James Woods segment just gets to me. It's so fucked up. Fun stop motion at the end, too. And in Cat's Eye, there's sort of linking events that have a lot of references to other Stephen King books, so like the dog from Cujo, the car from Christine show up. It's fun. Fun little references. Yeah, I need to be careful with this, because, like, you know, copyright and whatnot. You get it. She kills a bunch of people. It's Carrie. You're familiar. The movie's almost 50 years old. If you haven't seen Carrie... Can't play this.
What is a blood ritual? A blood ritual often involves a symbolic death and rebirth. As a literal bodily birth involves bleeding, blood is typically seen as very powerful and sometimes as unclean. Blood sacrifice is sometimes considered by the practitioners of prayer, ritual magic, and spellcasting to intensify the power of such activities.
Yeah, I think I'm about done with him too. We're 25 minutes in, and he's basically just doing the same thing.
Did you hear that?
Goes on for another hour.
Brothers and sisters. It says blood rituals often involve a symbolic death and rebirth.
So the sacrament. The sacrament in Christianity. Okay.
What thou will.
Alright, let's move on to something else. We know Prom's evil. Glad we're all on the same page.
So we have more material from a website that purports to produce parody, satire, and humor. RealRawNews.com. Link to the actual article in the description box down below.
That's their legal disclaimer. QAnon people take them seriously and think they're news stories. News stories are real. They're not, of course.
Fourth charlatan juror arrested by JAG on Long Island by Michael Baxter, Jr.
They've been writing fan fiction articles about how the jurors who found Donald Trump guilty of 34 counts are all being arrested and executed. Because don't you just love it when a portion of the country thinks it would be just awesome to arrest jurors for not rendering the verdict they want?
June 9th, 2024. U.S. Navy JAG investigators have arrested a fourth juror who dishonestly found President Trump guilty of doctoring business records to...
That's not up to you. That's not how juries work.
...to obfuscate payments allegedly made to a skanky porn star so his unproven tryst with her wouldn't damage his 2016 presidential run. As reported last week, U.S. Marines and Special Forces snatched up 3 of 12 charlatan jurors as part of a broader mission to crush both the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and jurors it bribed or otherwise influenced to incriminate an innocent man. According to a JAG debriefing report reviewed by Real Raw News, the fourth juror, name redacted but described as male in the finance industry, was apprehended in the parking lot at Republic Executive Airport in Farmingdale, New York, where he intended to board a Cessna Citation he had chartered to fly him to Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. Investigators shadowing him for days converged on his car at 7:45 p.m. Friday, yanking him from the driver's seat and hurling him to the ground after he tried reversing into a 3-point turn to escape.
Again, this is literally just fan fiction for people who want their political enemies murdered.
He soiled himself when told he was...
Ha! He shit himself when we extrajudicially tried to arrest and murder him. That's the thing that they're imagining and going, ha, isn't this fun to imagine?
Under arrest for suspicion of treason and would soon answer the charge at a Guantanamo Bay military tribunal. The debrief states he cowered in fear and sobbed hysterically as an investigator snapped the cuffs on him and informed him that he was now a detainee or enemy combatant and had thus forfeited...
You rendered a jury verdict the government disagrees with, so we're gonna lock you in a gulag off of U.S. land? That's very American, right?
...his rights.
At that point,
a JAG source told Real Raw News,
he said he didn't know if Trump was guilty and was just towing the line because that's what the court and the other jurors expected of him.
That's literally not how that works. What are you talking about? Again, I understand that this is obviously untrue, but what's frustrating is the number of people, the number of conspiracy theorists, the number of far-right Trump supporters who read this shit and go, yeah, I hope this is true.
Then he really blundered.
The juror told investigators a bulging duffel bag with $1.75 million in cash was in the car trunk.
Why would you have almost $2 million in cash? I understand the implication within the story is that they were paid off, but why would you have it in cash? Would deposit that somewhere. That doesn't make any sense.
And that they could have it if they let him catch his flight, to which they cordially informed him they were seizing the money and arresting him regardless.
He wasn't broke, made a decent living, but not that good. We investigated his finances and saw he is mortgaged up the ass and had $50,000 in credit
I hadn't noticed his bookshelf before. That's annoying me. Holy crap, not a single thing on that bookshelf is put on right. That's really annoying.
Debt. And he never had that much cash in his
I've heard of a lap mic, but this guy has got a whole seat mic
account to withdraw. We don't know how and from whom he got it. He didn't while we had him under surveillance.
Our source added that the juror has since been taken to JAG's Pensacola Processing Center and interrogated.
The Weasel said it wasn't a bribe.
The Weasel?
But we'll find out if it was. He claims he was squirreling money away for a rainy day. Well, for him, it's pouring out, and he's screwed. We'll put that money to good use. A donation to Trump's campaign.
Our source said in closing, so remember to love God and try not to let the corrupt elite...
Remember to love God, everyone who just mentally got off to their political enemies being kidnapped, tortured, and eventually murdered.
Their puppet politicians, puppet prosecutors, puppet judges, and puppet governments, NATO, or Big Pharma kill you.
Very normal. Normal guy. Jeesh. Big ol' jeesh. Let's see what we are doing next. Oh, this... Remember the lady who's been transvestigating board games?
Hi everyone, I was going to do this as a live stream, but I think it's better just to make it as a regular video. I have so many things to show and kind of like jump around from different photos, so I'm just going to record...
Not a board game today. Not a board game today.
...it this way. But yeah, leave it to Beaver, Wally and the Beeve.
For those that are unaware, Leave It to Beaver, she's gonna go over this a little bit. A very well-remembered sitcom of the 50s. It's sort of the prototypical example of the 1950s sitcom, you know, 2 parents, 2 kids, a car in the driveway. When you think of, like, 1950s Americana, you're basically thinking of Leave It to Beaver, at least in part. It helped shape the cultural identity of the nation through a mirror of itself through the show. It's an idealized version of the American family, the American nuclear family, circa the 1950s, how pop culture viewed that arrangement.
In case you're not familiar with this show, this was kind of like the ideal 1950s family. You know, they had the perfect little life, lived in the suburbs. It was like squeaky clean, just like all American, like the ideal, what was considered ideal in, you know, like the 50s. And this is, of course, like the boomer generation. The kids, Wally and the Beeve, they would be considered what ended up being known as the boomer generation. And, you know, a lot of people laugh at that.
Okay, Beaver.
But on one hand, you know, you have wholesome, more innocent times, but were they really? So let's get into the weirdness of Leave It.
See, I would say no, they weren't innocent, because, again, contemporary with Leave It to Beaver, segregation was happening, you know, like women didn't have rights, you know, lots of things that you could say, wow, this image that they show of this very happy family, underneath the surface of this are a myriad of social issues that are just not touched on at all, but instead, nope. We're just gonna say some of them are secretly trans. Okay.
To Beaver.
Transvestigation on the bingo card.
Now, maybe I'm paranoid, as evidenced as I always cover up the video thing on my laptop because I think people can see us. You know, I'm a conspiracy theorist and whatnot.
As if anyone can see me from my camera right now. Fools. Like Pleasantville. Yeah, have you seen Pleasantville? That cultural construct of what society should be.
Just as I've been, like, looking at different TV casts, that all seem transgender.
Did you just say the all-seeing trans... Oh, no, they all seem. I want to be the all-seeing transgender. I see all. Yes, even that weird thing you're doing right now. Yes, you.
It just makes me wonder what the point of TV...
Stop picking at that. It's gonna get infected.
...is. And if it is a weapon of mass destruction, just for, like, you know, the content, but also all of the subliminals. So, a weapon of mass destruction is considered a biological, chemical, radiological, nuclear, or any other weapon that can kill or significantly harm many people or cause great damage to, what does that say, artificial structures like buildings, natural structures, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, what about psychological damage? I have an article pulled up here called What Are Subliminal Messages and Do They Work?
They don't. Fun fact, they don't. They did lots of experiments on this, attempts to try and use it for advertising. Nope, didn't work. I say this as someone who took psych. I literally went to school for psych, ended up dropping out, but this is like Psych 101 shit. You could take psych in high school and get this. They did experiments with subliminal advertising. Didn't work. Didn't work.
There's a
They did not show the source of the article either, no.
lot of subliminal messages.
If they did work, they'd be used constantly. Because, you know, capitalism. But they're not.
Messages on TV.
Italian Shakespeare says, IRL question, were trans people a thing in the 50s? Like, I know there were lots of examples throughout history, but that seems like a time where being trans would not be fun or talked about. There were. It was not talked about much. It was considered a very fringe thing. They weren't called transgender. There were other words for it that are not considered as nice to use now. But they did exist. They did exist indeed.
And the reason I'm calling this, what did I call it? The Leave It to Beaver mind, bleep, is because even though this is like, such a wholesome family show, it's the subliminals that are really, seeping into your subconscious.
G.I. Joe becomes blonde, or G.I. Joe becomes blonde bombshell as G.I. Jane. Yep, that's a headline from a newspaper about someone transitioning. In like the 50s for her.
Gender cast, and that's what I want to get into. I have some information pulled up about psychological warfare. And as I'm thinking, like, this video can go in like a million different directions, but what happens to all the poor saps that move out to Hollywood and I guess New York? Is that a thing, like, to get into acting and movies and stuff? Because honestly,
New York is normally more theater, but there are opportunities there, sure. Vancouver, I think, is a pretty big one in terms of moving there because there's a lot of work. And, is it Vancouver that I'm thinking of, or is it somewhere else? Canada. The place that's big on filming. There's like a city that's pretty prime location for filming, and it's a lot cheaper. Vancouver, is it? Okay, cool.
Honestly, I don't think they have a chance. Like, I don't really think
Vancouver stands in for a lot of cities and movies. For instance, Jason, when he took Manhattan, I believe was actually taking Vancouver, except for like one day they shot in New York. That's where they got the shot of Times Square and a few other things, but most of that was shot in Vancouver.
regular people. Like, what about all of the people that major in drama and go to different schools for performing arts? Do they have any type of a chance in Hollywood or TV besides maybe like being an extra? I mean, even like different like guest star roles or like people walking in the background on the street are trans. So like,
oh, she's very paranoid. This poor woman.
How do any regular people do they ever make it?
So she's just watching movies and people are walking in the background, background actors, and she's going, trans, 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 trans. Woof.
Like, I don't think so. I've only known of one guy.
Her name was Christine Jorgensen. Oh, yeah. I remember because Ed Wood was supposed to make a movie about her, but ended up making Glenn or Glenda instead. Which I like Glenn or Glenda. It's an interesting, like, little time capsule.
In my life, who he went to my church, who moved out to Hollywood to try to become an actor, and he had like, good looks, Hollywood actor looks and everything, but he moved back home after a year Actually, I knew of one other guy too, and I don't think anything ever happened with him either. So, yeah, just what do these people do? I feel bad. I really don't think they have a chance. But anyways, I'm just wandering here. Let's get it back into Leave It to Beaver. So here's the Beav doing the chalice pose. If you watch any of
the chalice pose, ooh, that's a new one for me.
Simon Wood's videos, he likes to point out the chalice pose, which I think is some kind of like Aleister Crowley satanic occult pose. The chalice has something to do with spells and witchcraft. And what is she like? Why is
that's she Punky Brewster
sucking on a key? Or
that's not even the same. That's not even the same show. It's not even the same decade.
Or something. Someone along the way told me Hollywood is actual wood that's used to make, like, see that broom, like broom handles, broomsticks.
Or Soleil Moon
Hollywood,
Fry,
which is
however you pronounce her first name. I know her last name is Moon Fry.
Broom. I think that's an actual thing. So I think Hollywood is like full of these witches, and if you're a regular person, good luck trying to like get on TV and everything. I found an interview of Jerry Mathers on YouTube because I was curious.
Moon Fry.
Why is he called the Beaver?
We're just actually doing this as the conspiracy. We're just doing, why is he called the Beaver? Why is he called the Beaver?
YouTube, because I was curious. Why is he called the Beaver? And what I was looking...
His last name isn't Beaver, it's Cleaver. Their last name were the Cleavers.
Looking for was like a very solid explanation, because Beaver, like, they've been telling us all along, guys, Beaver. What do you know is a beaver?
A semi-aquatic mammal that has a tendency to build dams. They're very important to wetland ecosystems.
The only thing I've ever heard called a beaver is, I'm sorry to be like gross here, but beaver is a slang and vulgar word for a vagina.
Why do you think
so is it possible?
Wait, why do you think it's gross to bring up vaginas? Like, there are contexts in which it wouldn't be appropriate to bring up genitals, but, like, you're just on the internet. It's not gross to bring up that vaginas exist. What are you talking about?
That Leave It to Beaver, they told you all along about this cast that Leave It to Beaver, Beaver is a girl. I mean, that would be a pretty, like it says here, vulgar and disgusting word to call this little boy. But, I mean...
Honestly, the fact that her brain keeps going here is, like, really disturbing. She sexualizes children so much. It creeps me out.
I've thought that, you know, throughout the years, like, what a interesting choice of a nickname. Of all the names out there, why is this kid called Beaver? Well... this explanation makes a lot of sense to me, especially because in this interview with Jerry Mathers, I would watch this. I would like to play it, but I don't know about copyrights. He basically says...
That would almost certainly be fine.
There's no good reason why he was named the Beaver, and the only explanations that the writers gave at the very end of the 6-year run of this show was that when he was a little kid... Wally was having trouble saying Theodore, so he called him like Teeter, and his parents changed it to Beaver, and even Jerry Mathers is like, yeah, that makes absolutely no sense. He was like, I think they could come up with something way better than that, and they didn't. So he's telling you there's...
Does it matter why he's called Beaver? I'm pretty sure the reason wasn't sex.
Thank you.
Beaver. Nice beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
Let me help you with that.
Kid gone.
There's no...
From the files of Police Squad.
Explanation.
It was a joke about his teeth, was it? Did he have weird teeth?
for that name, but it's probably because he can't tell us the good reason. And I always thought Jerry Mathers was like a very interesting looking, like really weird looking adult male. Look at the vertical.
That happens to a lot of child star actors and actresses because they're cast as children for specific features that we deem as being like, oh, cute on children. But then they grow up and, you know, sometimes those features are still prominent, even as adults. And on adults, we don't deem those features to necessarily be cute. It's kind of like a weird dissonance because you expect to see certain things on children and then you see it on an adult and you're like, that's off. So that happens. That's not nefarious. That's just a thing.
Forehead and just he's very peculiar looking. That's not insulting his looks, just
hey Augie, how's it going?
I don't know that this is a biological dude. Just in case you're unfamiliar, Leave It to Beaver was on TV from 1957 to 1963, so earlier days of TV. And I was surprised to learn it really wasn't a big hit. It was not a big hit like originally. And it even got canceled after its first season, I think on like CBS and then another network.
There was a Beaver sequel series in the 80s. I think we watched an episode on VHS Vault once. I think it's called like Still the Beaver or something, or Still the Beav. It's not very good.
Picked them up. I think it was NBC or ABC. And they put a lot of money into the show and it had a successful 5 years, but it actually became much more popular in reruns, which is when
That wasn't uncommon. The same thing happened to Star Trek, got canceled, and then in syndication it got really popular, which ended up getting them to do the animated series, and then they were going to do Star Trek Phase 2, but then that work got turned into a movie after Star Wars was so popular, and they did the motion picture, and then the sequels to that.
I saw it as
not uncommon in this era for shows to not do great on first run, but on syndication end up becoming popular. Happened.
Kid in the 80s, and everybody knew the show Leave It to Beaver. This became like, you know, just an American, like, iconic show that everybody knows about. So Jerry Mathers is the Beaver. The father here is Hugh Beaumont. We're going to take a closer look at him. We've got Barbara Billingsley.
Annie Kai says there's an article from 2007 where he explains the name comes from the nickname of one of the writer's friends in the military had. Oh, okay.
We're going to take a close look at her as the mom, and Tony Dow, who was Wally Cleaver. This was June Cleaver. I can't remember if I said that. Wally Cleaver.
The original Batman series was like that. See, that surprises me because it won an Emmy, I think, for Best Comedy Series at least once.
And Eddie Haskell was like the funny friend of Tony, and he was like the wisecracking, you know, like either neighbor or, you know, friend that lived nearby. He was very...
I was a big fan when I was a kid of the 90s Leave It to Beaver movie. Remember in like the 90s when they were in a trend of like remaking old sitcoms into movies? They did Leave It to Beaver, they did Beverly Hillbillies, they did The Addams Family, of course, which was probably the most popular of the bunch. I really liked those movies as a kid. There's a certain vibe to them.
Very funny.
Is Gilligan's Island a trans psyop? Yes. Marianne has always been trans and gorgeous.
So knowing what we know and doing transvestigations, what kind of energy are you getting from this person? And when you look over here, like, look at the different body shapes. We're going to take a closer look, but I want you to notice...
I'm more of a Brady Bunch fan.
It's like the long...
Brady Bunch, if I had to pick my favorite sitcom of all time, like traditional, like 3-camera sitcom, Brady Bunch.
Arms here. And the long jaw. And, you know, just kind of like the overall, like... skeletal.
Is it bad that this makes me feel better as a trans person, seeing a transvestigator look at a cis person and make the same judgments they make about me or other trans women? Like, that's not fair. That's probably not healthy, but it does tickle me a little to be like, oh my god, this is just brainworms for you, isn't it?
Body structure. of what we've seen so many times before. And you're going to see that the father is a lot curvier in his shape. This is a pretty nice picture of Tony Dow, but there was some like phases like towards the beginning of the show where I thought he was kind of like just a little goofy looking. That's a nice photo.
The child.
And then in reruns, I couldn't help notice. I was like,
not Munsters or Addams Family. I do enjoy both of those, and I own both series on DVD, but, like, I don't consider those traditional sitcoms. Those have a twist. Those are in, for me, the category of hiding some magical realism thing. So, Munsters, Addams Family, Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, stuff like that falls into magical realism sitcom for me. Like, usually there's a member of the family or members of the family who have some weird supernatural thing that they are either hiding or is just not well known to the community, and the comedy comes from that interaction.
Like, like Wally's a pretty handsome guy.
Pretty sure he's still real young in this picture, so maybe stop being creepy.
Right?
Benikagami says, isn't it great that a lot of the voting demographic feel people like this would make viable presidential candidates? It's a shame. Mr. Ed, another good example. My Mother, the Car. Yeah.
But is it a guy? It's harder for me to tell with the kids on this, like in general, but sometimes it's more obvious than others. But one of the reasons I want to focus on him and all of this subliminal stuff is because apparently he was like...
Yep, My Favorite Martian. There's a million. There's like a million. You could list off a million of these things.
Kind of like...
the whole genre, basically.
Like Teen Idol back then. And I read this article that said, you know, like he wasn't a teen singer.
Did they ever explain why Mr. Ed talked? Well, a horse is a horse. Of course. Unless that's, of course, that horse, of course, is Mr. Ed, who can talk. So I'm glad we covered that.
But like he was on this hit show and he was getting a ton of fan mail from these teenage girls. So this is where...
Would I put Mork and Mindy in there? Yeah, I would say so.
This is where it becomes a problem, is when you have young people developing these crushes, kind of like my girl crush videos where I had like, you know, all of these different little, I call them crushes because I was tuning into the show really for them, and it's really not the sex you think it is. Like, really, for me, they were boys and I felt an attraction, but they were presenting as girls, where, is this really a girl? I don't know. Like,
did she start developing this because she had crushes on girls in TV shows and she was uncomfortable with her own potential attraction to women as a woman, and therefore she started saying, no, I'm not attracted to women. I can't have same-sex attraction. They're secretly boys. Whew, this is a lot to unpack.
Like, look at the vertical forehead. Look at the more feminine, close-together eyes. Look at, you know, like his lips, and it's more of, I guess, like an oval shape.
Yeah, conspiracy theorist tells on themselves. We had that earlier too, but this is that.
Face, and we're gonna see more pictures of his body where he's got a really curvy spine.
Could we not?
And kind of more female hips and legs. But that's a very stunning picture of his eyes. He could, looks like one of those like Twilight vampires or something. He got better looking as he got, you know, a little older, but...
Okay, let's move on. Ugh. I have to use the bathroom real quick before we move on to the next thing. While I do that, Chair will tell you about... Frostbiter! Wrath of the Wendigo! I'll be right back. In my head, I've just been doing the Crossfire jingle, but with Frostbiter, you'll get caught up in the Frostbiter. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Looks like a comfy chair. It's okay. I've had it for years. I honestly kind of need a new one. Not high on the priority list.
All I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
This is a person who doesn't think meteors are real. There we go. Like, as part of the Flat Earth. They're also a Flat Earther. We'll look at the bingo card after this, by the way. Plurals don't need apostrophes. True. Maybe it's just something that the creators own. We don't know. I'm not going to judge the creators and their property. Oh, do we have a bingo? Who got bingo? Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Oh, okay. It was just a redeem, not a win. I see. Let me gift your sub real quick. Ooh. Oh, that should go through in just a sec.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to be looking at a meteorite crater in Arizona that is supposedly 55,000 years old. The crater is still there, but the big meteorite that landed there is just totally gone, totally gone.
If you take a projectile that's effectively a bunch of rock and smack it into a much, much bigger rock, what do you think happens? What do you think happens to the rock? What do you think happens to meteors when they hit something as big as the Earth at a high velocity? It doesn't just sit there. It fucking exploded. Midnight with 39 months says, meteors aren't real. Next thing you'll tell me is asteroids aren't real. If that's the case, then Bruce Willis will have died for nothing. Don't worry. He didn't. I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, babe. And I don't want to miss a thing. Also, the commentary for that movie is incredible because they just make fun of the director. And it's pretty good.
And I also went on to let you know that if you Google or whatever you want to do to look for asteroids, they're all computer generated images.
You can find actual pictures of meteors. In fact, I think the ones you're showing on screen right now are.
By an artist. So anyways, What kept eating at me was a scripture from Genesis 7:11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. Now,
so in the Noah's Ark story in Genesis, the implication is that it has never rained before, and that water came from under the ground. I mean, there is groundwater, but it was saying all water, there was no rain, it only came from under the ground. And then the flood happened by a bunch of geysers opening up, by the waters of the deep erupting. So I assume he's going to say that he thinks that craters are not impact sites for meteors, but instead are the former location of geysers that broke open to do Noah's flood in the Bible.
Now pay attention closely. It says all the fountains of the great deep broken up. Great deep means the deep ocean. Broken up means to come upward. So anyways, as I went on the search, I realized that there were more supposedly meteorite craters all over the world in different continents, all around, roughly around the same size as you can see here in the...
Around the same size? Do you mean because they look the same size to you in the picture? Because I'm pretty sure if you're taking a picture of a crater, it's going to look the same because you're always going to try and roughly get it centered in the photo. So it's always going to look about the length of the frame, because that's how you would take a picture of it. God! Doesn't understand how cameras work on the bingo card. DM Trey says, look at these geysers. Pretty good. World War II bunker with a bunch of holes.
These pictures, I took a picture from each continent from every one of these supposedly meteorite craters. But out of all the...
Is he gonna say a lot of these have water in them? If he says he thinks they're geysers because many of them have water in them, I'm gonna lose it.
These craters...
It's almost like water tends to pool in lower elevation.
There's nothing left of the meteor that landed there. And I say that in quote. Supposedly landed there. There's nothing left of the meteorite, but all the craters are still there. So I went to investigate a little more. And I'd remembered researching geysers many, many years ago. Now, here's a few images of what geysers look like.
I'm aware.
But the images I'm showing you are what the geysers look like when they're actually erupting. So check this out. Now, does these craters underneath these geysers not look familiar to you? Just take a really, really close look. Now,
thing looks like thing. Must be same thing. Smart brain.
I'm showing you the ones that are erupting.
Toreador with 50 bits and a link to impactite on Wikipedia. Impactite is rock created or modified by one or more impacts of meteorite. Impactites are considered metamorphic rock because their source materials were modified by heat and pressure of the impact. On Earth, impactites consist primarily of modified terrestrial material, sometimes with pieces of the original meteorite, rather, sorry. It hit the ground.
Okay, now let's compare the so-called meteorite craters with the geyser craters. Now check this out. Right in the middle, you see where the geyser actually comes up?
I understand that you're recognizing that both of these things have similarities, but the important thing to note is that they have many differences. Two things being similar doesn't mean they're identical. Imagine this, both houses and cars have windows, but I'm not gonna drive my house somewhere. You know what I mean? That's not how this works. You can't look at certain aspects and say, well, these superficial features are similar, so they must be the same thing. That's erroneous and is going to lead you to really bad conclusions, because that's not how things work. Just because something looks like something else doesn't mean they're the same thing or caused by the same thing. Now, that's a valid observation to say, oh, these are similar. I wonder if they're similar for some reason that is common between them. And then you would go and investigate that and develop experiments if you were interested in finding that out. But the observation alone is not a conclusion, and that's the problem. They're making an observation, having an initial reaction, and assuming that their intuitive reaction is truth, when it's not.
You can see it in the meteor crater and the geyser. That's where the water comes up at. Same thing here. Everything around it is just where the water pressure coming up explodes everything outward. And here, if you look to the right of the crater and the right of the geyser, they're shaped identical. That's water pressure, not a meteorite.
You mean by identical? Do you mean they're both vaguely circular?
It's simply the original geysers that God opened up and flooded the earth with, people. Common sense. All you got to do is look at it.
Common sense. Apparently it's not so common.
Now, you notice here in this meteor crater how the earth has upturned edge around the circle of the crater. Now, here's how that happens. Here is a photo of a geyser.
Yes, he believes evidence is self-evident on the bingo card.
Actually fixing to erupt. Notice how it upturns the edge of the hole around it. Now, once again, if we look in Genesis 7:11, towards the end of the scripture, it says, all of the fountains of the great deep broken up. The scripture tells us exactly what these are and exactly what God did to flood the earth.
It makes me so depressed and sad to think how many people there are in the world who have access to more knowledge than the vast majority of human beings to ever live. A gift that generations of people would give anything to have received, the gift of free, open information. And instead of being able to access this and interpret it and learn and, like, self-actualize through that access to information, this is what people have done with it. How depressing. And I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I've done better. You think I spend all my time on the internet enlightening myself? No, most of it's bullshit. Just a shame. We're really, really shit at this as a species, aren't we?
And it also says, and the windows of heaven were open. So we also know that there's a firmament and it has windows in it. And he also flooded it from above as he did below.
As above, so
now,
below.
This is where your inner wisdom should kick in. Science tells you that these are so-called meteor craters, okay? But there's no meteors in none of them. All over the world. There's no meteors found nowhere near or around or in the crater itself. But yet these craters...
Yeah, they explode. They explode into a billion trillion pieces because they hit the Earth real fast. Lots of velocity.
Craters are identical to geyser craters. That's because these so-called meteor craters are the giant craters.
He's Jim Varneying.
That opened up from the deep, the great deep, and flooded the earth. And the flood of Noah happened, and I just showed you how it happened. And the funny thing about it is, they even showed you in the 2014 movie.
Says he's playing. Am I gonna get in trouble for this? I gotta skip ahead. It's, you know, movie. Oh, is it Robin Hood? Are you referencing Russell Crowe's Robin Hood? No, that's Noah, sorry. I like Darren Aronofsky. I like Mother. I like Requiem for a Dream. I like Noah.
In Genesis 7:11, all the fountains of the great deep broke.
I do appreciate that I didn't intend to get into covering conspiracy theories, knowing that movies were such a big part of them, But I am glad that it worked out that I'm a big, like, cinemaphile. Like, I'm the biggest, like, I fucking love movies and know so much about movies and storytelling, and I'm doing this. It's just fortuitous.
Up. And
I don't think he mentioned giants.
we are told again in the book of
Unless someone else says he did. I may have missed it, but I didn't hear it.
Enoch, when Enoch, the grandfather of Noah, tells Noah that the waters beneath the earth will erupt in the great deluge, but as
deluge?
Right now, the angels are just keeping the water calm, holding the water back until God instructs them to release it to flood the earth.
And after that he showed me the angels of punishment, who are prepared to come and let loose all the powers of the waters which are beneath in the earth, in order to bring judgment and destruction on all who abide and dwell on the earth. And the Lord of Spirits gave commandment to the angels who were going forth, that they should not
Yeah,
cause...
he did say Book of Enoch. Enoch is apocryphal. It is not in the Bible. It is extra-biblical.
...the waters to rise, but should hold them in check, for those angels were over the powers of the waters. And I went away from the presence of Enoch.
No, a lot of conspiracy theorists are real shit at audio mixing. So this one's not bad
And after
comparatively.
that he showed me the angels of punishment, who are prepared to come and let loose all the powers of the waters which are beneath in the earth, the waters which are beneath in the earth, the waters which are beneath in the earth.
Wait a minute. I think the geyser took on too much gamma radiation, and when it gets angry, it turns into a meteor crater. I got it.
Book of Noah, a fragment. Enoch foretells to Noah the deluge and his own preservation. Chapter 65.
The Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk joke for you.
And in those days...
Yeah, it is interesting how he's citing the Apocrypha without any justification for why other Christians should take it seriously when it's not in the Bible. Most Christians care about biblical sources.
saw the earth that it had sunk.
That's abroad to say most Christians. That encompasses so many groups, but you know what I mean. I guess I'm talking more specifically about your average, everyday Protestant American.
Down, and its destruction was nigh. And he arose from thence and went to the ends of the earth, and cried aloud to his grandfather Enoch. And Noah said 3 times with an embittered voice, Hear me, hear me, hear me. And I said unto him, Tell me what it is that is falling out on the earth, that the earth is in such evil plight and shaken, lest perchance I shall perish with it. And thereupon there was a great commotion on the earth, and a voice was heard from heaven, and I fell on my face. And Enoch, my grandfather, came and stood by me, and said unto me, Why hast thou cried unto me with a bitter cry and weeping? And a command has gone forth forever
He's gonna talk
of
more about
punishment,
meteor right now. He's just gonna...
who are prepared to...
Alright, let's take a look at the bingo card before the next thing. I can't tell if it's an AI voice or not. I don't know. Ancient Wisdom. Spurious Symbology. Believes evidence is self-evident. Oof. And it mentions Blu-rays. Transphobia, transvestigation. Satanic. There were scenes from The Matrix played, so we can do The Matrix. Predictive programming, popular media is evil. Illuminati, Freemasons, Cabal, I'm sure that's come up. Is that it? Anything else? I think that's maybe it. Hydrate, can do. Drinking water, slurp slurp. I'll wait till I'm on camera. Here, now I'm drinking. Were vampires mentioned? Vampires on the bingo card. Yeah, when were vampires mentioned? I need to at least get 2 people to say something before I believe them. I am so gullible. Oh, that doesn't count. It doesn't count if they're fictional vampires. It only counts if they're real vampires, or they believe they're real vampires. She was just referencing a movie. That doesn't count. Though I do understand why you asked the question, so fair enough. But no, I wouldn't count that. They have to be referencing vampires as if they are real, or they believe they're real.
I have met people who say they can feel a negative type energy in Colorado.
Any Coloradoans care to confirm or deny?
They describe it as pretty much just that. They say it's as if they can feel something bad happened here. I have a hard time believing any of our history. My intuition tells me, though, that the Western United States was probably Babylon.
How would intuition ever tell you that? That's not a thing that one can intuit. That's not any sort of intuitive anything.
So much
And it wasn't, because we know where Babylon was, and it wasn't in the Americas.
Has happened here, and it's been completely erased from our world. The result of a reset, probably. So how do we get to the truth? I think our only chance is to look around, see for ourselves. Go observe what's out there. Fresh eyes, no preconceived notions, definitely no academia.
Enjoy the thighs, chat.
Mark Twain said you can't depend on your eyes if your imagination is out of focus. So we need to broaden the range of possibilities in order to see that which is in front of us. Anyone without an imagination is going to say that that's just a piece of wood, maybe a piece of driftwood. That would look nice if it were stained.
Yeah.
My roommate said that. See, my roommate has zero imagination, zero empathy, and doesn't think for himself. He's a part of the collective. Those of us who think, we need to...
When he says roommate, I wonder what he means, because in earlier videos he says he lived with his parents. So when he says roommate, does he mean parents?
Get out there and look around, because you are mistaken if you think there's nothing left to discover. There are walking paths, sidewalks that cut through many of our nature areas. There's a field right behind me here that has a trail through it, a concrete trail, and everyone stays on the trail. Nobody thinks that there could be anything to discover. It's just a normal field. But that's precisely...
That thing's clearly made of wood. He thinks things... Okay, so you know how things can fossilize? He thinks things can turn to stick. I know that's a weird way to put it. I'm verbatim using the phrase that he used in a previous video. He was looking at sticks and claiming that they used to be bones and said they turned to stick. So he seems to believe in some kind of reverse fossilization. Stickification, woodification, I don't know. Whatever it is, he thinks things can turn to wood.
What this place does. Everything is hidden in plain sight, you guys. So walk off the trail. Pick up a branch you see lying on the ground. Pick up another one. Go wander in the grass and try to look at things objectively. Where are we going to get the answers? I don't know
Oh,
if...
real quick, we're back on YouTube. I need to change this again. Dude. Okay, that doesn't want to work. Try this again. Yeah, this stick, whatever, was a human on the bingo card. This stick, or tree, whatever. You know the space, you're looking at it. This mountain tree, whatever. Sorry, it bugs me when this is like wrong. I gotta fix this. Get this more or less in the proper shape. Got this. That'll do, I guess.
we can get all the answers. But the answers we do get are going to come from...
Yes, this is pyrite equals gold, dude.
Coming together and talking about this stuff. We have just a few myths in our past that discuss people turning into trees. We have a story in Dante's Inferno, or Dante's 9 Levels of Hell, where those who have committed suicide are turned into a tree, with the idea being that person didn't respect life when they had it, so they will be denied life and left pleading for it.
I always thought that was fucked up. I mean, there's plenty fucked up in Dante's Inferno. Like, damn, those people are depressed. You turn them into trees? Dick move. Now they gotta listen to Florentinian politics for eternity, and that's the worst fate of all. Grayline says, don't just go walking off trails. It costs a lot of money, time, and resources to rescue workers to come and save your ass. Also, some places have very delicate ecosystems that are destroyed by walking on them.
I find that to be pretty awful. You know? I'm wondering if this is all just to scare us. When one finds this, maybe it's to motivate them to find religion or seek out a savior. Something that binds them even more to this construct, to the illusions. Because it's scary, right? Fear is the great motivator. I'm more inclined to believe that this isn't real. That this was not a real person. It's just there to scare us, to try and trick us.
That's
what do you guys think?
interesting, because in previous videos he had said he thought these were humans that had turned into things, so now he's changing his tune?
I found this about 100 yards from this backyard I'm filming it in. Literally right out in that field, on the surface. This field is littered with branches that look like bones. In my last video, we learned about the periosteum. We're able to feel our bones because of the periosteum. It's a layer of veins and nerves that surround our bones, and that's what allows us to feel them.
His parents really need to help get him some, like, intervention.
So, after I made that video, I found this piece. Back here in this field.
I wonder if they know how
out.
serious this has gotten in terms of, like, how into this stuff he is.
That, to me, looks like the periosteum. That is exactly what I would imagine it would look like.
Like, as of right now, I don't think he's doing anything that'll harm others or himself, but, you know, it starts with this kind of magical, delusional thinking, and it can build to much more dangerous things.
Metamorphosis. You know, it's as if we've lost our natural curiosity about things, and science has given us answers to everything, so much so that have we become complacent and scared? Scared to be different, scared to be looking at a branch in a field, because that's just crazy, right? No, it's not. What's crazy is these things are everywhere and nobody has noticed. That is absolutely mind-boggling to me. So, On a lighter note, guys, I don't know what to make of all of this, but my intuition tells me there is nothing to be afraid of. Gotta remember, this is a construct, you guys. Anything is possible, and not all of it is real. I think more of this stuff is going to be making its way into the public, and I just have a feeling if you've broken free and you realize that this is a construct, this could be something that maybe tries to pull you back in. But always remember that if it's something that's trying to scare you, it's probably a manipulation. I think it's got to be a manipulation, because fear is the only tool evil has. It's the only thing it can possibly do to an eternal being who can't die, is to try to scare him. So I've got a lot more to show you guys. Make sure you subscribe. I'm just a regular guy who began to look around, and I think that's how it all works. I think some of the greatest truths will come from the most unexpected places, if you have the eyes to see.
The cool piece of wood.
So make sure you
keep
your eyes
like wood like this
open. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll be back soon with another video.
This poor guy. I really hope that he gets some help, because like he's able to edit videos competently enough. Like he's I don't know. I feel bad because he's so confident in his belief. He's sure that he's right, and he's just completely divorced from anything that would tell him that what he's doing is delusional and doesn't make any sense. So I hope there's some sort of health intervention that happens with him, because that's a shame.
Hi guys, this is Ed and welcome to the Outer Dark. Recently I was doing some research and I found a number of very strange things regarding the symbolism at the Pope's audience hall at the Vatican, and I found it really disturbing. In fact, there was one detail that really did blow my mind. Anyway, stay tuned as the Outer Dark brings you 5 dark things about Paul the
I'm good, Dillis Filler. How are you doing?
Fourth's audience hall. Number 5. First, some context. I am a Christian and I was baptized, and at one stage I was even an altar boy. I'm not knocking the Catholic faith or anything like that, but it is my duty to follow the breadcrumbs, no matter where they go, even if I don't like what I find. Anyway, what is the audience hall in question? Well, it's a building in the Vatican where the Pope himself holds audience.
Zachary Mike! How you doing? Hope you had a great stream. Hi everyone, hi Raiders, I'm Hannah and welcome to Tinfoil Tuesday, my favorite day of the week. We take a look at conspiracy theories, conspiracy theorists, what they believe and why, play conspiracy bingo, and have a good time. So maybe consider hanging around for a while in the last hour here of Tinfoil Tuesday. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you check out the Zachary Mike here on Twitch if you haven't already. And yeah, we just started this video on this person who I think believes that the Pope is a reptile. Reptilians on the bingo card, by the way. Pastel Dyke, thanks for a 15 stream streak, says cheers to my fucked sleep schedule.
Yes.
Sorry, it's doing so bad.
It's named after Pope Paul IV and has a seating capacity of 6,300. It's designed in reinforced concrete by an Italian architect and was completed in 1971. The architect in question is noted for building large reinforced concrete structures, the kind that's very strong and is the public equivalent of a super bunker. Number 4. I will be covering the audience hall in depth in a moment and what very well blew my mind about it. But until then, I want to go over something else. That is the major feature behind the Pope that features inside the audience hall, namely this. Have you seen this before? I'd never seen it before myself and found
I have seen it before. Other conspiracy theorists bring it up all the time because any piece of art that they find ominous or don't understand must be evil.
Like I had entered the realm of the Mandela effect once again, on overload this time, since this is the most ominous thing I've ever seen in a while. This artwork was placed.
This is the most ominous thing you've ever seen? Oh, I could show you some movies. We'll set a time.
Within the hall in 1977, as history states, and depicts, according to the Vatican, the resurrection of Christ emerging from a nuclear apocalypse. Now,
Oh, is it like him exiting hell after his 3-day hell?
think to yourself for a moment. The audience hall is a reinforced concrete bunker, and the depiction of Christ shares the same connections with Christ himself rising from an atomic apocalypse. Not only that, but many...
I don't understand where you're getting atomic. I don't understand where you're getting atomic from any of this. It looks kind of like fire. I get hellfire from this. I don't get nuclear explosion.
Many people have said this is the most unchristian thing they have ever seen in a long time.
How? It's a statue? How can a statue of Jesus escaping hell be heretical?
Even a number of Catholics I've talked to, for it looks like Christ's head is in fact missing, at least half of it. A number of Catholics don't even remember even seeing this before or looking at it, but it's been in the hall
Oh, did the artist say it's supposed to be an atomic explosion? Well, that's interesting.
since, at least according
At least
to
it wasn't something the conspiracy theory made up whole cloth, so points for that.
history, since 1977. The structure seems to have entered at least the internet's consciousness around 2012. I could find a couple of examples before that, but most seem to be post-2012, and there doesn't seem to be any pictures of it from the front. All seem to be
the second coming after a nuclear war? Is he just gonna come out of the bomb like that? That's a pretty dope entrance. Like, I'm not a Christian, but I'm just gonna say, if you're gonna make an entrance out of an atomic bomb, it's pretty good.
taken from the side. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that because I found it really disturbing. Number 3. In order to understand what I'm going to show you about the audience hall, that is the following symbolism around the architecture. You have to understand a number of coarse conspiracies, most notably the work of researcher David Icke.
David Icke, famously, who helped popularize the reptilian idea. For those that don't know, also, reptilians is a dog whistle for them. By them, I mean it's anti-Semitism. It's dog whistling for anti-Semitism. Said this before, the bedrock of all conspiracy theories just ends up bottoming out in anti-Semitism. Lazy. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's just the worst.
At least the main theories he puts forward, for he states that there is an idea that the elites themselves rule through a secret bloodline within the global elite, and that there is an overriding superstructure of, well, alien influence, most notably reptilian. Number 2, I want to have a look very carefully at the inner architecture of the audience hall.
Gillis Filler says, honestly, the art is interesting. Not exactly my cup of tea, aesthetically speaking, but I appreciate the artist's intent. That's what I don't get about conspiracy theorists. There's art that I see and I'm like, I don't like that. But, like, you're not supposed to like all art. Art is a thing that makes you feel things or react. Sometimes I'll see a movie and I'll be like, that movie was dog shit. I need to own it. Specifically because sometimes a piece of art can make you feel negative things, and that's its intent. But regardless, whether you like or dislike a piece of art, it doesn't make it evil. And conspiracy theorists don't seem to be able to make that difference. Them not understanding or liking something, to them is sinister. It's a paranoia thing. They don't understand it, so it must be, malevolent. It must be with evil intent, because they don't get it.
I want you to look very carefully at this piece, this part of the architecture, and really just look at it. Now it's a circular eye-like architecture, and you can see there is almost a slit in it. It almost looks reptilian. Wow.
Does it? I don't know, I think you're pretty broad on your definition of reptilian if any elongated oval is inclusive of reptilian.
Well, is your mind blowing yet? Probably not. You're probably laughing at me. Well, sorry, maybe I should take
You're not that funny.
the photo from a different position. How about here? Now can you see it?
Because there's two, and because there's pillars that from this perspective look like they dip down into fangs. That's not really convincing, no.
This view is from the back of the hall, a view largely
Pareidolia isn't evidence.
never taken, I might add, in any form. Maybe because if you see it on the front view, you can see this. Let me go through this in detail so you can see what I'm talking about. First, the eyes. Take a look. Now the scaly skin.
Are there panels on the walls make it scaly? I don't think that's what scales look like.
Now the sharp teeth. Also note the pathway to the Pope himself and the fact that it resembles a snake's tongue or even a snake's tail. Now ask yourself this. Why is there a massive snake symbolism within the inner audience chamber of the Pope?
I find it funny because even if it was intentional, and I don't think it is, but even if it was, a serpent is a large symbol in Christianity. Like, it represents the fall. Like, one of the most important biblical stories. Would it be that weird for them to reference it if it was intentional? I don't know about that.
Also note the architect who designed it. This project would have cost millions of dollars. And every design, everything you can think of, it's
an ugly mix of styles and materials. Like, the ceiling is, like, the individual elements are fine, but, like, this wood paneling with this, I assume it's acoustic paneling, looks so ugly, and both of them clash with the ceiling, and the windows don't match anything either. Kind of a nightmare, stylistically speaking.
job for the architect to entertain. They just don't design anything like this unless there is a reason behind it. So what is the snake a symbol of? Well, ask yourself.
This is like the auditorium equivalent of mixing stripes and houndstooth or something. Like, it's just weird pattern mixes that don't go right together.
That what is the snake a symbol of within Christianity? Number one. So what
doesn't understand architecture on the bingo card for this one.
Does this mean? Well, perhaps we need to go back to David Icke again. Let's go through David Icke's main hypothesis again. David Icke states that there's a global conspiracy where our very world is being ruled by reptilian aliens, that they rule this through control over bloodlines and vast amounts of other methods and resources. He states that the elites are not like us. They look like us, they act like us, but they're not like us. They are fundamentally different. They think different, and most importantly, they have different wants and needs, different desires. But at the end of the day, I'm just presenting what I find. It does not mean I'm right. Go out and do your own research, form your own conclusions, and come to your own opinions.
Do they not understand how insane this sounds? Depends on the conspiracy theorist. They'll generally have some sense and recognize, usually because other people have told them that it's pretty out there, but not intuitively. I don't think they have an innate sense of that. I think that comes from hearing other people react and realizing that other people don't think the same way they do.
These are just the dots I connect. I'm just an armchair researcher.
Do your own research on the bingo card.
Like a lot of people. I definitely don't have the in-depth background that David Icke has. I just look at stuff and then come to my own opinions, and you too should. I will be covering
David Icke's background, I believe, was as a football player. Not American football. Soccer.
This in more detail though, you can be sure of that. But in the meantime, if you did like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. I do expect I'll get a lot of thumbs down for this video due to what it does imply. But anyway guys, this is Ed from The Outer Dark. Please share your comments in the
We'll do thinly veiled anti-Semitism as well for some of the David Icke stuff. Let's see what we are going to do next. The title of this one. The title of this is Let's Talk About Sex Magic, so I guess
talking about the
let's do that.
Hey, what's good everybody? It's your boy, See Through the Script here, back with
It's your boy.
Another video, and for this one, I'm going to be talking about the mystical and strange world of sex magic. Yes, I said sex magic. However, I want to give a disclaimer that I am no expert on this topic whatsoever, merely just...
Yep, It uses AI on the bingo card for the art.
Just a curious individual presenting my take on the rarely discussed topic, seeking to find answers as to why it's used and the effect it has on the world around sex magic.
Oh yeah, that's AI. Holy shit, I wasn't paying any attention. How did I even not realize that? Oh my god, the more I look at it, the worse it gets. Good god.
Magic. Yes, I said for merely just a curious individual presenting my take on the rarely discussed.
Okay, it's just an unofficial sequel to The Thing. It's canon.
Topic, seeking to find answers as to why it's used and the effect it has on the world around us. I also want to add that this is an extremely dense topic and sadly one that we aren't necessarily taught about, so I can't truly cover everything, nor do I know everything, but without further ado, let's get into it. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychology, came up with the concepts.
He's the father of there were people who were doing things prior to Sigmund Freud that would be considered the origins of psychology. He's more the originator of psychotherapy.
And psychoanalytic.
Yeah.
Theory that is still taught in schools to this very day, being the
most of the stuff that, Sigmund Freud stuff is taught, a lot of it, because it is the baseline from which other psychoanalysts and theorists criticized and started their own work. So someone like Jacques Lacan, for instance, had a lot of criticisms of Freud, and in order to understand Lacan, you need to understand the Freud stuff that he's criticizing or speaking in opposition to. So, depends on what you mean.
The id, ego, and superego. These three systems, according to Sigmund Freud, refer to the idea that the human psyche has more than one aspect. He believes.
Stone Corbell says, someone once told me their college psychology professor would say, Sigmund Freud, a great observer of human behavior, a terrible explainer of human behavior. Yeah.
Each system contributed to the behavior of an individual.
Don't tell my aunt that. She's a neo-Freudian psychoanalyst.
Refers to our instinctive and primitive component to our personality. The superego operates as a moral conscious, which stems from one's morals and values they learn from their parents, others, and society. Lastly, the ego was the realistic component that mediates between desires of the id and the superego. Now, for the sake of this video, I will briefly touch on what the id is because it's important for the basis of the video. The id refers to the primitive and instinctual part of the mind that contains sexual and aggressive drives and hidden memories. Sigmund Freud explained that the id operates on the pleasure principle, which is the idea that every wishful impulse should be satisfied immediately, regardless of the consequences. When the id achieves its demands, we experience pleasure. When it is denied, we experience unpleasure or tension. This transitions into the next thing that I wanted to bring up, which is sex and religion. Now, for the most part in history, sex has been looked at as something of significance, granted what could happen after the act has been completed, aka the creation of another human. Ultimately, sex has been viewed as an act that should be cherished and done only upon the right grounds. These
Wow, that's a broad statement about human sexuality that doesn't hold up. Holy fuck. Jay Rodimus says, guy with a psych bachelor's, as of a month ago, very glad about it. Here, Freud is taught as, hey, this is what people used to think, this is the foundation. I swear people think something just being brought up in class is some kind of endorsement, right? I've heard creationists similarly bring up, like, Lamarck being taught in schools as if it's being taught that Lamarck's hypotheses were correct, when in reality it's being taught to show you people's ideas before Darwin came along and, like, developed evolutionary theory. It's annoying.
Grounds can vary based off one's belief.
It's important to know what people got wrong so you don't make the same mistakes. And it's like the concept of the, like, ego, id, and superego aren't accurate, but they are an interesting model for first beginning to think about how people think, right? It's not so much that it's correct, but at the very least it starts you thinking about human behavior, starts thinking about why people think the things they do, the different mechanisms of the mind.
However, looking at the two biggest religions in the world today, being Christianity and Islam, it's made quite clear that sex solely for the purpose of pleasure is immoral, forbidden, and downright sinful.
Lame.
Speaking of sinful, the well-known English occultist Aleister Crowley, known for being a ceremonial magician and much more
Again, the only people who care about Aleister Crowley are conspiracy theorists who are obsessed with him.
It's a very wicked form of sex magic. From the book Sex Magicians, written by Michael William West, he goes on to say, quote, "He built an altar to Pan out of rocks, and for the first time he engaged in true sex magic. He had indulged in sexual acts as a part of his magical workings before. Rituals that use magic are referred to as workings, but this was an overt attempt to use the emotional, physical, and psychic power of sex to enhance the magical experience. To properly worship Pan required sacrifice. In this case, the spilling of semen was substituted for spilling of blood. As sensual powers of the magicians are aroused, this was a much more powerful form of sacrifice than killing an animal."
Kind of sounds like he just wanted to have orgies and have some sort of pomp and circumstance to justify it. Kind of sounds like he wanted to come.
Newberg penetrated Crowley anally, and Crowley focused on the evocation and the calls. Afterward, he claimed that his visions were so powerful it left him in a state of prolonged spiritual ecstasy. And
oh. Apparently Newberg comes with the heat.
Quote,
Good
"This
for him.
was Aleister trying to achieve the Night of Pan through sex magic, which is a mystical state that represents the stage of ego death in the process of spiritual attainment. Now, for those who don't know Pan, Pan is a Greek god of nature, lust, and the masculine generative power. The Greek word Pan also translates as all, and so he is a symbol of the universal, a personification of nature. Therefore, Pan is both the giver and taker of life." However, it's been documented that Aleister Crowley got his inspiration for this sex magic from the Knights Templars, who discovered interesting practices from the Sufis, aka the Muslim mystics. Now, it is said that the Church, aka Roman Empire, was bent on dismantling the order of the Knights Templar due to their great power they were establishing. In 1307, King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V combined to take down the Knights Templar, arresting the Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, on charges of heresy, sacrilege, and Satanism. Now, let me briefly describe to you what type of strange shit the Templars were up to. Honestly, it would actually range
I've played
from
Assassin's Creed. I think I know the gist.
a list of things like spitting and trampling upon the cross during the initiation of a new member to the order. It would also
Are they literally trying to say that the Jesuit order, a part of the Catholic Church, was sacrilegious? That makes sense. That makes sense.
revolve around kissing on the navel and spine of other members. They were also encouraged to have sex with other members of the order and to do these things in secret and at night. So there was a lot of erotic and ritual sex magic in a sense going on. It might have not been called sex magic, but there was definitely a sort of erotic pleasure that was.
So anytime anyone's anally penetrated, it's sex magic. Apparently need to update my CV. Got some skills I didn't know.
Come along with these rituals. Now, I have zero authority to tell someone how to act or live, as some don't view the act as something immoral. However, at least within the context of religion,
Really
it doesn't
gripping
state
yarn, that's where you followed? Thank you for the follow, but that's where you followed? God damn.
sex is completely wrong. Whether that's Christianity or Islam, it really just depends how it occurs. If a male and a female do the deed after marriage, this
Nah, I don't regret that. I accept I said it. That's fine.
is deemed as halal or permissible. When you sit on Sigmund Freud's concept of the id relating to our instinctual needs and sexual desires, it's clear that many in this world struggle undoubtedly and fall victim to their urges, or a matter of fact, their lust. So let's read the definition of the word lust real quick. During the times of the Middle Ages, lust meant to wish, to desire eagerly, or to have an intense, especially sexual desire for or after. Notice how closely associated the word desire is with lust. This is very important. Now, let's take a look at a verse from
Deep Lord with 100 bits says, expecto my rectum.
From the Quran and a verse from the Bible, and get both scriptures' perspectives on the topic of lust. In the Bible, whether that's the New International Version or the King James Version, it states, in John chapter 2 verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Now, in the Quran, chapter 30, verse 29, it reads, nay, but those who do wrong follow their own lust without knowledge. Then who will guide him whom Allah has sent astray? And for such there will be no helpers. Alright, now I am far from a religious scholar, but when you break down both verses from each respective religion, it's clear that they both view lust as something that is associated with sin, or
numerology on the bingo card, gematria on the bingo card.
The wrong path. However, the deeper question becomes, why does religion, specifically the two most popular ones, say this? One can argue that,
I don't know, people are weird about sex, and if you want to control people, controlling their bodily autonomy and sexual function and sexual shame is, I don't know, probably a helpful tool in controlling people. Flower Sheeps with 100 bits says, if you think about it, a rectum really is just a flesh pocket. I hate
that both of those religions mean nothing, and that sex simply leads to pleasure and pleasure leads to happiness. But as many of us know, whether from personal experience or society itself, sex isn't always so pleasurable. There are many cases when people commit the act only to still feel an emptiness inside of them, almost as if a literal energy force was drained out of them.
Okay, not that. Maybe just need to see a therapist or stop having encounters that you're not into. What are you doing?
Now, when it's put that way, it makes you think, well, what is it?
The reason it's called the prison pocket? I hate every single one of you.
Is it just a mere act humans do for pleasure, or does it serve as a much greater purpose? Now, the obvious answer is yes, it does serve a much greater purpose. Sex is an energy exchange between two individuals, commonly a male and a female. The result of said energy exchange is the creation of a new life form. This life form then ultimately gets to grow and formulate its individual personality and can...
You're aware that most sexual encounters, even if you were a straight couple raw dogging it, most encounters don't result in pregnancy, right? Because it kind of feels like you think that sex immediately results in pregnancy most of the time?
Either become a positive impact to the world around him or her, or a negative impact. In a recent study from Child Trends, it shows a dramatic increase in the proportion of births outside of marriage in the United States from the 1990s to 2016. The publication of this study was in 2018, so it's fairly recent data. Recent estimates show about 40% of births in the United States occur outside of marriage, up from 28% in 1990. So
fewer people are getting married. That doesn't mean they're not necessarily in long-term relationships. Now, I'm not saying that means they are in long-term relationships either. I do just want to point out fewer people get married as a necessity, so not all of these are necessarily single parents.
I just want you to take a look at this diagram that I'm showing up here, because you can see that the data shows higher rates amongst the Black and Hispanic community. One has to wonder, is this by chance or design? Systematically, minority women were incentivized to split the family unit. Prior to 1968, the nation's primary welfare program, Aid to Families with Dependent Children, denied benefits to families if an adult male was in the house. This mainly affected Black women. Now, laws have changed, but truthfully, the damage has been
Jesus fucking Christ, this guy's just dog shit.
Done and only continues to get done. Alright, so just recently, a female rap artist by the name of TNFW Neek went viral for her song BDF, which stands for Baby Daddy Free, where she has some very choice lyrics that I'll just honestly let you guys hear.
Is this a song about getting an abortion?
I'm BDF, nigga, baby daddy free. That mean I ain't got a nigga, baby coming out of me. So I'm ABORTING. On my way to the clinic, I forgot the plan B.
So Well, now that you guys have heard that,
That's pretty funny. Lennon Cat says, I would also argue how many of those other in-marriage births were conceiving before marriage, and the marriage was a result of the pregnancy. That's true.
I mean, it's clear that she is glorifying the idea of adultery and even doubling down by saying she's cool to murder the babies, aka abort them. It's just wild. Seriously crazy stuff. They're truly reinforcing stereotypes and essentially promoting other women to just simply become another statistic. I mean, I do want to reference this song is more geared towards abortion, but statistics show abortion is way more common amongst single women, so I think y'all get the point. They want this stuff going viral because they know the impact it has on the...
I don't think anyone's getting an abortion specifically because they saw that music video, but if you did make a decision based on that music video, you probably shouldn't be a parent, so I think the abortion's probably a good idea.
Young, impressionable minds. Alright, so there has been many studies that have looked into the impact of the family structure. Most studies came to the conclusion that children living with their married biological...
If he's understanding the song is reinforcing a negative stereotype, why does he believe it? No, he doesn't think it's reinforcing a negative stereotype. He believes that it is orchestrated to force an identity onto people. He believes they are basically manufacturing consent and consensus through society via top-down propaganda efforts.
Parents consistently have better physical, emotional, and academic well-being, while children born into single-parent homes are more likely to experience poverty. I mean, this isn't hard to grasp.
Deep Lord says, how many of those babies were conceived in a train? Did I do it? Did the hype happen? It didn't. It didn't quite.
When you look at life like a table and your parents as the legs, both your mom and dad have 2 legs each. Simple math, 2 + 2 = 4. When you think about the standard table, it has 4 legs, which allows the table to remain balanced, letting one place weight on this table with a minimal chance of it breaking down. Now imagine...
Sir, are people tables? Benekagami says, also Bachelor and Psych, both Sigmund and his daughter were genital-obsessed weirdos, Sigmund penises and her tits, but in fairness to them, they were working off little prior research and Sigmund was based enough to consider homosexuality to not be a mental illness and it to be unethical to even try to cure it, and he laid the groundwork for the theory of personas. Sadly, his daughter disagreed with him on queer people. Yeah, I was listening to one of his seminars like last year, I think, and I was actually surprised that during it at the beginning he literally was like, hey, a lot of this shit I'm about to say is probably wrong, but I'm gotta start somewhere, so I just gotta start saying stuff and defining things, and then other people can disagree with me and we'll get the conversation started. So I think even he was at least somewhat aware that he just kind of had to do stuff and then other people would come and criticize him later. Which they did a lot. Cassifel says, the single best song on abortion in existence. It isn't even close. It isn't even up for debate. Let's see what the link is.
Oh dear.
Oh, I can't play much of this because I'm streaming on YouTube, but I'll play a little bit. Profane Priestess says, no study has ever found a link between biological parentage and child well-being. The reason multi-parent households fare better is because they have more money. Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism on the bingo card.
Stop.
Oh, that's hilarious. I've not seen BoJack Horseman.
If the table lost either of its 2 legs, it's likely what's on the table will fall as the foundation has crumbled.
Normal Gamer Gal with 400 bits says, hope this helps for the train. It does, and kicks off a hype train.
I think this is why religion puts great emphasis on the importance of permissible sex rather than sex out of desire and lust, as it can ultimately lead to 2 individuals following their lust just to create something neither of the 2 really wanted, or maybe only one of them wanted, which means there is...
How about you have a modern interpretation, and that is to take reasonable precautions if you don't want to have a kid, and then if things do happen, you take care of it. Because to me, that seems like the adult thing to do in the year of our Lord 2024, instead of seeing what an old book says about your life today. Flower Sheep says, yay, hype train, I won't mention Flesh Pockets this time. Oops. 58% to level 1.
Is little to no foundation for the new creation upon its arrival, or worse, it doesn't even get to arrive. So, that was a decent amount to unpack, but I think it was important I got all of that stuff out of the way because it just provides more context for this video as a whole.
Phoenix Leftist, thanks for gifting a sub, 83% to level 1.
When it comes to the specific topic of sex magic, the history truly runs deep. From the Egyptians, cults of Isis and the worship of the phallus, to the late Hellenistic
worship of the phallus, you say?
Gnostics, who were concerned mainly with Judaism and Christianity, including
Gillis Filler says, hold on, I need, Cauldron Holefield will have to be my skull. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him biblically. I knew him biblically, Horatio.
included
Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Generous, thank you.
scattered sects and sex cults like Ophite and the Simonites, to the followers of pagan religions performing fertility rites and conjurations. At least until the late Middle Ages, the concept of sex magic has been around forever, to say the least.
73% to level 3.
Thing that seems quite clear despite the blurry history is the power of sex. Sex is truly so powerful, some use it as magic, and magic leads to an effect, and an effect meaning a change which is a result or a consequence of an action.
Something from National Geographic.
Is supposed to create.
Lennon Cat says, these people who get their whole understanding of what religion says entirely from Abrahamic faiths drive me crazy. Egyptians, Greeks, and other pagans in Europe and North Africa at the same time as Judaism and Christianity started, all often had ritualistic orgies. Flesh pockets. Yeah, it's a really narrow worldview that's entirely based upon their particular religious beliefs. It's unfortunate.
Sex in films and TV was compared to how normal it is now. I mean, you can't watch a show these days without some sort of intense sexual relationship.
Nerny, thanks for 27 months at tier 1, 90% to level 3. And does another level 5 get you 6 more months? You know what, fuck it, sure. Oh, that's a sub baby. This sub baby's name is going to be Hanky Panky.
Relationship going on. One has to wonder, well, why? Why constantly bombard the masses with the topic of sex?
People are horny. People are so goddamn horny.
Well, as mentioned previously, it's because it's something that lingers over humans' minds, and it really is a powerful thought. Sex is practically like a drug for some people, to the point where these people become sex addicts or nymphomaniacs. Think about how
Gregory Term says, I've been thinking about that weird lady transvestigating chutes and ladders. Is there anything or anyone these people don't transvestigate? I don't think I've seen them transvestigate chimpanzees. That's good.
how Catholic priests and nuns
Sure, Hans is an any day now proposition for him.
have to practice celibacy. This is done to display ritual purity, although history has shown this hasn't worked out for the better, and it's basically just led to some really nasty and evil things, as you could see here. However, beyond that, this displays something very real that occurs even outside of Catholicism, but from other religions and the boundaries that are set within them.
That's it, those are the other religions, all 7 of them. Profane Priestess says, maybe I'm just a big wokey and I understand that some of this is because of my historical anthropological training, but I don't understand how these people encounter other cultures, and rather than feeling some form of humanistic kinship and academic curiosity, they just feel icky. I don't get the close-mindedness, and I wish I could put myself in their brains, but I can't. I think some of it has to do with the anxiety and discomfort that comes from recognizing how narrow your own view of the world is. I'm not saying they're doing this consciously. I just mean, I think people get really scared by things they don't understand, and some people's reaction, like you or me, would be, I want to know more. I will find comfort in learning about this, whereas someone like a conspiracy theorist doesn't find comfort in discovering more. They find comfort in protecting themselves by assuming the worst and coming up with basically catastrophizing situations in which everything is an evil plot that they prepare themselves for. Lennon Cat says, interesting note, only women could be nymphomaniacs. Men were diagnosed with satirasis, nymphs all being female, and satyrs all being male. Oh, satirasis. Ashrin, thanks for gifting a sub. And Galaxy Space Geek, thanks for subscribing with Prime. Much appreciated. I know you just followed, too. Appreciate it. Glad you're seeing something that you're enjoying. 22% to level 4.
Like I mentioned before, some people can't hold back as it leads to sexual frustration, which is basically a tension that builds up in oneself due to the inability to fulfill one's instinctual needs.
Did you
Now
need to
picture
define,
this. Imagine the
did
ones
you need to
controlling
define sexual frustration to other human beings?
the media and entertainment are using their celebrity puppets from
Satiriasis, thank you.
music to acting to constantly promote sex in hopes of creating a very sexually focused and frustrated society. I mean, let's be real. When something like sex is on your mind, it weighs heavy and
Sir, you know you can masturbate, right? Literally just masturbate.
it can lead you to be extremely distracted and ultimately, like the scriptures say, lead you down the wrong path. Real quick, let's just look at the PORN industry, which Forbes states
Oh wow, he can't even say the word porn. That's a shame.
globally is worth over
You're probably right. He thinks masturbation is evil.
97
The sin of Onan. Which wasn't the sin of Onan, but that's all.
billion, which, I mean, that should really just say enough. Clearly people are heavily invested in this industry. Many studies have explained how PORN can lead to addiction, isolation, increased aggression, distorted beliefs and perceptions about relationships, all sorts of messed up shit. However, it seems like it's flourishing
By the Recovery Village.
more than ever. It's honestly gotten so bad that regular women and men, mainly women though, can make an OnlyFans account and make millions filming sexually explicit content from the comfort of their homes. But really, how did we get here, and what had to happen prior to this for sex?
What if I open one of those and it's just me? No, god damn it, my jokes. Never mind. Reverse that.
Become so
Hannah regrets what she just said on the bingo card. I didn't quite say it, but
normalized. Well, let's look back in time regarding the increased hypersexualization within media. In 1896, a German-born American filmmaker, William Heise, made a film titled The Kiss, which displayed the first lip-on-lip action in film.
Calling it a film is maybe misleading. It was literally like a minute or so of this shot. It's a very famous early film. But again, calling it a film is maybe misleading to modern audiences. It's more like a YouTube video shot on film. It's like an early YouTube video. It's very short. Normal Gamer Gal says, take the rest of my bits. It looks like I'll be able to get a tubal litigation and I'm happy. Oh, hell yeah. Good for you. Lennon Cat says, look at this vulgar thing that's destroying the West. Oh, God. What did I say? Hold on. Tubal ligation. I did say litigation. Jesus Christ. Good luck on that lawsuit. Tubal ligation. Oh, it's the thing from District 9. District whatever.
However, it was in 1933 when
I cover sob sits a lot, okay? Got litigation on the brain.
a Czech filmmaker named Gustav Machety released a film titled Ecstasy, which was the first film to have an actual sex scene in it. Now, before I continue, y'all know I gotta plug in the gematria, and I find it interesting it was the year 1933, emphasis on the 33, when the first sex scene went down in film. Notice the word in gematria, sex equals 33. I'll bring up some more numbers as
notice that it says reverse, so that's reverse gematria, I guess, which is a different kind. There are different kinds of gematria, and they just put the words into every kind until they get the number they want to make it ominous.
This video goes on. However, in the United States, the film industry had the Catholic Church breathing down its neck.
Normal gematria would involve the Hebrew language, but the way that conspiracy theorists use it, they use it as a cipher that's basically 1 equals A, 2 equals B, 3 equals C. The reverse gematria would be the opposite. 1 would equal Z, 2 would equal Y, etc.
Prohibiting
Thank you for that hype train, everyone.
Such type of content in TV and film from at least the 1930s to 1968. However, by the 1960s, things were changing in the US and the public's general notion of sex wasn't so stigmatized. In 1968, a string of films hit the market loaded with sexually explicit scenes. Things only went harder from there. It became more and more common for sex to be the main topic
Wait until he
in
hears
music.
about Deep Throat or Behind the Green Door. Benakagami says, since I brought it up earlier, I should explain. Persona theory is that every human expresses themselves through a series of masks suited to a specific circumstance. Your true personality exists in between this sea of masks, and each mask is a part of that personality. At no given time are you ever fully expressing your true personality. That's why for proper psychological analysis, an individual has to be observed in multiple situations so that the behavior patterns can be observed.
TV and films. Now, just imagine this effect it had on the people. By seeing it on the screens, it really would normalize the behavior to the average person, which led to a high potential of sex going down before marriage.
Oh,
and
did
again,
someone call bingo? Who was it?
I just want to remind people, I'm not here to tell you whether that's right or wrong, but as discussed previously, the data shows the downsides of doing so. Now, truly, I could spend days talking about the history and intricacies of this topic, but for the sake of the video, let's just fast forward to the late 90s to the present.
Someone did bingo, let me know, and send me your card.
Day. Then I'll circle back to the history side of things to kind of wrap it all up. Alright, so many artists of our time have come out and said
Oh, it's Phoenix Leftist? Cool. Did you already post your card? You did. Let me check. Oh, wrong link. Can you try sending the link again? It'll be the link at the top of your bar. You sent me the link that's just to the general bingo maker. So not quite. No, we'll figure it out. It's like the, you know, at your top bar, at the top of the screen where you would type an address. That. Oh, you're on an iPad. You can still, can you not, in the web browser on an iPad, get the link to the page you're currently on and copy and paste it? Yeah, copy and paste it.
Strange things about their experiences in the entertainment industry. Often there's...
Yeah, go to the address bar, tap it, it should highlight, hold, copy, and then paste it into chat.
Seems to be a common theme of some sort of sexual orgy amongst the Hollywood elite. A film that comes to mind is the popular Eyes Wide Shut starring Tom Cruise. For those who haven't seen the film, it clearly displays the idea of the upper class, wealthy folk partaking in sex-related rituals for many purposes, whether that simply be pleasure or personal gain. However, someone who's watching this video might just say, well, that's just a movie. What about the real world? Well, let's talk about it. How about the artist Inspectah Deck from the famous rap group, the Wu-Tang Clan? He spoke on his strange experiences at a Hollywood mansion party with other celebrities. But rather than me explaining it, how about I let him do it himself?
Don't say no names, bro, because I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we ain't got to say no names.
I'm going to come in with new energy. We ain't even going to name nobody. We're going to spare y'all, bro. Spare y'all.
He going to spare y'all. If I find out, I'm telling you. But anyway, go ahead, yeah.
I'm just find out he can spill the beans on y'all, man. Yeah. But for me, I'm going to just give you a crazy scenario. We went to a house party in Hollywood. It was half of us. You know what I'm saying? We went to the house party. We saw a lot of famous faces in there. It was partying, mingling. Of course, we like the uninvited guests. You know what I'm saying? We the hood walking through the mansion. And it just was crazy, man. Like, I remember, you know, me and Ghost will tell you this too. We opened up a couple of doors just trying to see what was going on. And I'm gonna tell you that too, man.
It's a little rude, honestly, if you think people are having sex in the other room to intentionally try and open the door. Weird.
Yeah, y'all up and coming rappers. Y'all make it to Hollywood, y'all get invited to these parties and all that. Don't be curious, bro. Don't be opening doors. And all
don't
that.
open them. Cat Williams told you, don't open them doors.
Bro, we opened the door and we saw it. You know what I'm saying? We saw a whole lot of, you know.
and it was people that you were...
I don't know. Are you just... I can't tell if he's just aghast at adults having consensual sex, or if he's trying to imply some sort of illegality.
Familiar with.
Yeah.
Wow.
A whole lot of inappropriate activity, man, going on.
Again, what do you mean by inappropriate activity? Because there's a big difference between saying there were people there fornicating and you don't like that, and there were people there doing illegal shit You kind of need to be clear about the allegation you're making.
And, you know, okay, oh, shit, let's close that door. Close that back. After you see it, you see with your own eyes, like, oh, close that. You walk over here. There's a balcony. You're looking down. You know, and it's just a lot of, you know, nothing against gay people.
Okay, so there it is. There it is. I see what he's so aghast about. Okay. Oh, he's just homophobic. That's a shame.
A lot of gay shit going on.
A lot of gay shit going on. Yep. They're allowed to do that, sir. They're adults.
Me personally, I love women. You know, what's that, Homo sapien? You know?
Yeah.
That's regular shit, right? So it's like, you know, I'm pro women.
Yeah.
Let's put it like that. I'm saying I got gay family members, so
I got a gay family member. Weird that you made a big deal about adults having consensual gay activities then, my man. Very weird.
Heterosexual.
Heterosexual, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, yeah, I'm not trying to, you know, shit or downplay.
Yeah,
or
but
shit.
it's weird when you didn't know
Priestess
people
have
giving
fun
it
at
up
D&D?
like that, and you just like, yo, ain't he? Oh,
Exactly.
wow.
You open the door and you just see a whole some type of Roman Caligula shit going on in broad day. You know, you close the door, bro. You keep it moving, unless you bounce.
So, you walked into a room unannounced where a bunch of people, or we don't know if it's a bunch of people, whoever was having sex, and then you have the audacity to be upset with them, even though you were invading a space that they were in and you didn't, like, knock or anything. Good God.
Or how about the rapper Coolio, who just passed away recently? He had a strange interview with Hip Hop News Uncensored. Have a listen to what he said in that interview.
You've been in the industry a long time. How was it in the music industry? That whole conversation about the gatekeepers real, you know, the rituals, things people got to do, blood sacrifice thing. You know, I don't know if you got into all that, but can you kind of go there, being as though you were in the...
What? Okay, I wasn't planning on it.
belly of the beast in the music industry.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second to check this card. I'm gonna pick a different page real quick. There we go. Hannah regrets something she just said. This rock tree mountain was a doesn't understand art. Yep, cool. You win! Also, I'm gonna get rid of this message just because I want that to not be in chat because, you know, your name's on there. But you do win. So let me write your name down for that bingo win. Congrats, Phoenix Leftist. I only did that, again, I only did that to purge the message so no one else could click on that. You're good. Phoenix Leftist. Boop, boop. You are officially on the bingo winner list.
Biased and
false news.
I can gift it. Can do. Give me 1 sec. What's that? And do the gift.
News has become...
That's the wrong.
I've read about all of that, and I only can say my truth, and you would think that with the height of success that I had and the things I was able to do, the amount of records I sold, and actually the amount of
Mochaccino 9 randomly gets the gift sub.
I don't want to say political power, but the amount of social power that I was able to achieve, you would think that I would be a prime candidate for just to be, so we could call it something, to be a member of the Illuminati or a member of the elite.
No offense, Coolio, but if the Illuminati existed, I don't think Coolio would be in the Illuminati. Like, why would Coolio be in the Illuminati? Why would any music artist be in the Illuminati?
Society or whatever, you would think that I would be, that they would come at me, and I think they did it sideways though. Nobody never got at me directly and said, we want you to join us and we're doing this. That's never happened. But I will tell you, I've had motherfuckers come at me on some weirdo shit, like on some gay shit. I've had
Again, so much homophobia in the rap community. What the hell?
Motherfuckers come at me on some, oh, you should do this type shit.
To be clear, I'm
And I
not
was like,
surprised by that. I know that I'm familiar enough with rap to know that homophobia has been a problem in the industry. It's just annoying to listen to.
What?
Because Beyonce runs the Illuminati, obviously.
Man, why the fuck would I do that? That make no sense. I view that as being inhuman. I view that as I would never do that. So
you view homosexuality as inhuman? Oh God.
And then, right when there was some things that I was trying to do that I felt were important, things that I felt would help other people, shit started happening to me. Went to jail for some bullshit. Got convicted. Well, not necessarily convicted, but because I didn't do no real time, but
you don't have to do time to be convicted.
Little shit started happening, you know? And I didn't even address the shit really, because who the fuck? When you know, and when you're a celebrity, bro, when something happens, whether it's true or it's not true, once it's been said, for most people it's true. Because people don't do research to find out if something is true about a person or not. Whatever they hear, they deem it to be truth. So I didn't go hard on, oh, I didn't do that, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. That never happened. I just let the shit die down, continued on my life. Also, I'm at a point right now in my life where there's a lot of shit I know that I want to tell people. It's a lot of things that I want to teach, but I'm afraid. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm scared because I got 4 grandchildren, and I got children that are in this world. I got people I care about, and I got people that I care about that don't necessarily believe what I believe.
Yeah,
and I'm not. I have no fear of death, and I think that those that would oppose my beliefs, they've probably done enough. If somebody's after me or if somebody's watching me, then they know enough about me to know that I have no fear of death.
Was Coolio just like super paranoid before he died? I hadn't kept up with Coolio because he sounds like he's incredibly paranoid. Like in the conspiratorial sense. He's talking like people are coming after him.
So killing me don't mean shit. It just confirms that what I said was true.
Another wild example I almost forgot to mention was the extra verse on Nas's track You're the Man off his album Stillmatic. He essentially discusses some form of like sex magic and ritual he partakes in. And here, just have a listen for yourself actually.
Gotta skip for copyright reasons, sorry about that. It's always the issue with dealing with music conspiracies, you can't usually play the songs.
Recently, a somewhat popular social media influencer, quote unquote, named Wovicky shared a few interesting experiences regarding those strange Hollywood parties similar to Coolio and Inspect the Deck and many, many more.
The first two literally just said they saw gay stuff, which is not a controversy. Literally, they're just homophobic. The bigger headline there would be Coolio and Wu-Tang Clan guy are homophobic shits. That's the headline.
Take a look at that clip.
Now, can money buy happiness?
No.
I have no idea who this is.
It can't. Your only happiness can come from Jesus. And that's what people get it fucked up. They be thinking like, once they get this, they're gonna be happy. Once they do this, they're gonna be happy. And then they do that, and they still ain't happy, and they keep doing it. And I be telling people, I think that's why all these famous people get so fucked up when they move to Hollywood, because it's like, okay, they got everything, they famous.
Oh god, I'm sorry, she talks a little bit like an ex I used to have, and I'm not a fan of that.
Now they got money, they living in LA, but
like someone who's pretty confident, but I don't know, she just sounds a lot like my ex.
And they thinking, you know what I'm saying, they gonna be happy, and then they still ain't happy, and then they start doing drugs and stuff, cause it's like they so fucked up, they trying to figure out why they ain't happy, but really you just gotta find God and find Jesus.
Now, have you seen this with your own personal eyes, or is this...
Many times.
Okay.
In many situations. Like, you know, especially being in Hollywood and being in the industry, you see a lot of that.
Now, were there ever times you almost yourself got wrapped up into that scenario, or no?
Well, as far as the drugs, no, because I never, I don't want to do that. Because I done seen that to know, so I know better. But, like, as far as, like, probably, like, in Hollywood.
Like, with all the
If you in the industry, the devil, they, like, Illuminati, all that shit, they try to get you. Especially when you got a big influence, you around that shit. They try to get anybody, but you just gotta be smart and have discernment and have God's favor over you. Cause if you don't got that and you in Cali, you gonna get sucked in, for sure.
What are some of the ways they do try to get to a person of that magnitude?
Let me tell you, what they do is they invite you to these parties, these house parties, and then they be like, oh, Whoop the Whoop gonna be there, like your favorite rapper, the big ass person, and Whoop the Whoop gonna be there. Oh, before you get in, you gotta give us your phones and all this shit, and then they might do some gay shit to somebody, and then
again, like they're like, what? It's just homophobia.
And then
I don't care what consenting adults are doing. If you go to a party and people are fucking, cool. Not the kind of party I'm a fan of going to, but like I don't really care either. It's not evil that people are having sex, much less gay sex. Who cares? Who fucking cares?
And then like try to like and record it and tell them, oh, if you expose us, we gonna post it everywhere. And I know that from word of ear, but I know they do a lot of crazy shit in these house parties. And also, what else?
Someone else, third party? Wow, it's almost like you're talking out of your asshole.
I was with some friends in LA, and it was this big influencer party. Should I say her name? It was Bella Thorne party. So I got invited from some other friends. It was on Halloween. I already don't celebrate Halloween. That's the Devil's Day. But
Harold Ebbleman says, could Coolio be considered paranoid? Clears throat, recites lyrics. Death ain't nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm living life, do or die. What can I say? I'm 23 now, but will I live to see 24? The way things are going, I don't know. In fairness, that's written from the perspective of someone living in gangsta's paradise in the hood. So, like, that's more about the specific of being in a situation where you're in a neighborhood where you might actually not see next week because of gang violence or other things going on. Not just empty paranoia.
But I happened to be with them and they was going. I was like, fuck it, let's go. So it already was a lot of signs. The party said you have to be half naked. I'm like, first of all, I ain't going half naked nowhere. Second of all...
Then don't go to the party? It sounds like the expectations were made clear before the party. So don't go to that party if you don't want. That's fine.
It was like a lot of signs that was adding up that night. Like the same night on Hollywood Boulevard, the party was off Hollywood Boulevard, some guy got shot and killed on Hollywood Boulevard, so the whole street was shut down. So that was...
That's completely irrelevant. What are you talking about?
Another sign. So then we get to the party. You know, this is the beginning of all this COVID stuff. So we get up there, they talking about,
I like the shocking thing there was someone got shot in LA. What?
Bring your phone in. I'm like, first of all, who ain't bringing their phone in? I'm bringing my motherfucking phone in. I don't give a fuck.
A party with a bunch of celebrities, I can see why they wouldn't want people bringing their phone in, because they don't want you taking pictures and spreading them around. It's a bunch of celebrities. Photos of them doing anything in private are worth money.
Who you is? It could have been Kim Kardashian, and I'm bringing my phone. And then you gotta sign some papers. What am I signing some shit for to get into a party? Like,
that would be most likely an NDA, again, to keep shit private so you're not going to TMZ and spilling your guts for $20,000 or whatever.
What? Like, I'm from Atlanta, we don't do shit like that.
She seems dumb. She seems really, really dumb. Big emotions and not very capable of, like, articulating them well, but she's got opinions and they're strong.
And then, this is where it really threw me off. They said they had to prick your blood to get in. I said, oh no, I'm good. Everyone else went, I called my Uber and left. Like, that's the shit where I think they be trying to get you. And like, if it's like you gotta think about it, people move to LA for a dream. They chasing money, fame, clout, whatever. So they gotta think about it, somebody, like a young girl that's trying to get on, that just moved out there, she gon', oh hell yeah, better throw it in there. You don't know who else in there. Like, connections. Me, I'm good. Like, that shit gonna come naturally. I don't gotta prick my finger, take my blood to get into a party. If it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen. I'm not finna do something like that.
Okay. I think we're done for the day. Going over 3 hours now, so thank you everyone for hanging out. I appreciate it. It's been a fun Tinfoil Tuesday. Thanks for all the new followers. I got a decent number of followers today from that raid and stuff. I much, much appreciate it.
Teenagers.
So yeah, I will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what we will be doing tomorrow, but it'll be fun, whatever it is. If you're new, I have plenty of VODs here for you to take a look at. Also, I'm on YouTube at youtube.com/HannahReloaded. Just search Hannah Reloaded. You can see all my previous content and all the previous Tinfoil Tuesdays. It's all in convenient playlists for you. So, yeah, let's do a raid of 27 Club. Cool. Do. Yep. Happy Juneteenth tomorrow, everyone, by the way. It is a federal holiday now. Hell yeah. But, cool beans. Bye, everyone! Mr. Blast here. If so, love you, Mr. Blast. Alright, bye, everyone. See you soon.